ESPN, the world leader in motorsports, presents Speed World. Live from Columbus, Ohio, it's the Columbus 500 IMSA Championship Race, presented by the German-engineered Volkswagens and your Volkswagen dealers. By Quaker State Motor Oil, the big Q stands for quality, always has and always will. And by BF Goodrich TAs and the all-weather Comp TA. After a sky as foreboding as possible, we just have our first break of sunshine here at the Columbus 2.3-mile, 9-turn road course facility carved out of the streets of this Ohio town. Hello, I'm Ken Squire. With me is Bill Adam, and we're looking forward to bringing you live today the IMSA Prototype Championship event. And what a story we have to tell. Now, we know that many of you folks were anticipating Winston Cup, NASCAR racing from North Wilkesboro this afternoon. Inclement weather there, so we're with you live for the commencement of this race. Should North Wilkesboro get underway, we'll go there for the start, and then you'll see a tape delay finish of this event later today here on ESPN. Well, Bill, what a story there is here. Brabham has not one but two cars, or rather Nissan has not one but two cars in the front row. Jeff Brabham is outside of the front row. And a new name for Team Nissan, Derek Daly, is on the pole.
Well, you really couldn't ask for a better stand-in when he comes in and takes your backup car and puts it on the pole for you. It's a perfect position. Jeff Brabham did, however, suffer some problems during qualifying and did not have the full horsepower that he normally has to try and put his car on the pole. This does not take away Derek Daly's feat. Remarkable feat. But I'm going to go out on a limb, and I think this horsepower may create problems for the Nissan today. The only two failures they've had this year have been at tight street courses. The Miami course and, of course, last race at San Antonio, Texas. This track is a little bit bumpy, and when the wheels come off the ground and come back down with that tremendous traction the Nissan has shown, the drivetrain really suffers. I don't think you're going to see Brabham win the title today.
This track has tremendous speed, but it's also very tight and very treacherous. When you go to gear, you want to go low for the most part around this course. And the man who stands to gain the most in today's race is standing by with Bob Barsher right now.
Well, Ken, if you were wondering whether Nissan has serious designs on the championship for both drivers and manufacturers, consider that they have a second car in this race. In it, they have put Derek Daly, and he is the only thing he's accomplished is won the pole for this race. Daly, were you a little bit surprised, Derek, at taking that pole?
I was a little bit surprised, yes, because I knew I was going to have to learn the circuit, but I got more comfortable with the car every session I did, and I went faster every time out, and I just happened to get the good laps when it counted. So I was surprised, but I was also happy.
I heard a great story about you discussing the course with your teammate, Jeff Brabham. Tell me how that all came down.
Well, we live close by in Noblesville, and Wednesday night we went through last year's videos and a detailed street map, and he told me how to do it, and I did it.
Street courses have been the bane of the Nissan thus far this year. They had problems early this year in Miami. They broke in San Antonio in the last race here on ESPN. What are the prospects for today on these bumpy Columbus streets?
Well, we're aware of that. The problem at San Antonio, in fact, was something that really shouldn't have broken. It's not the type of thing that would concern us here. So we believe it'll be reliable, and if we can stay out of trouble, we should be very strong at the end.
How about team orders? What's your purpose out there?
There are team orders, and I'm going to support Jeff and wait and see what happens.
All right, standing by with Jeff Brabham now is my pit road colleague for today's race. Let's meet Marty Reed.
Well, we'll try and zero in on some of those team strategies. And Jeff Brabham, tell us what the plan is, because you can clinch today.
Well, we can. You know, obviously I can clinch the Drivers' Championship if things go our way, and we can make a big step forward as a team in the Manufacturers' Championship. So that's one of the reasons Derek's driving today. And, you know, so far so good in qualifying, but this is a tough race, and, you know, I'm going to be a little bit conservative probably because, you know, in my mind, the Drivers' Championship's the most important thing today. So we're just going to have to go out and see what happens.
Let me put a scenario out. If you were to have troubles in your car early, would you come in, bring Derek in, and make a switch?
No, probably not, because as IMSA rules state, you can only score points in the first car you start in. So if now I'm going to start the race, if I have problems in my car, I could switch cars, but I wouldn't score any points. So, you know, that's not an option open to us, unfortunately.
Well, good luck today.
Okay, thanks.
Let's go back.
36 cars coming to the ready here at Columbus, Ohio for this great street battle.
Ken, if I may have a moment, certainly the festivities here in Columbus have been tempered by the passing of a great champion, Al Holbert, over the weekend. John Bishop is with me. He is the president of IMSA. John, your thoughts?
Well, Bob, we've had a day and a half now to absorb the shock of this tragedy. And I don't think there's anyone here, mourning Al, who is not going to feel a tremendous sense of loss. His accomplishments in IMSA were so strong, his identification with IMSA so strong and for such a long time, that obviously he'll leave a huge hole in our series. We will miss him very much.
We'll be back for the start of the Columbus Grand Prix, live in the streets of Columbus, Ohio, in just a moment.
Now, let's meet one of the favorites in these summer games.
From St. Louis Mo to the heart of Seoul, he's Spud McKenzie, Bud Light's guru of goodwill. Fans the worldwide flock to his side, whether sharing Bud Light over kimchi or trading pens with Aussies and Fens. He's a sensation with every nation.
It's America's fastest production car, the Callaway Corvette. To create a Callaway Corvette, the entire engine must be built by hand. Nearly 1,500 parts are redesigned or modified. What's one of the few parts that isn't redesigned or modified? A Champion Premium Filter, which is already engineered to meet the most demanding specifications. Champion oil and air filters, the filter line with the highest standards in the world.
At participating Sears, Coast to Coast, Myers, Western Auto Stores, or call the Connection. Just how good are genuine GM parts? Good enough for Dale Earnhardt, three-time Winston Cup driving champion. And the same kind of quality that goes into the GM parts for his car goes into the GM parts for your car. So get the goods under your hood. Genuine GM parts from your General Motors dealer.
October is loaded with live original programming on the ESPN. Live college football fills your Saturdays with the nation's top teams. The top drivers in NASCAR, IndyCar, and Formula One careen toward their final races. See great shots from the PGA and Senior PGA Tours. Down to the wire thoroughbred and harness racing events. And Wednesday night ladies pro bowling. It all leads up to the return of Sunday night NFL excitement. All live in October on the ESPN.
This is Bob Jenkins back at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway, where we are under a rain delay. However, a procedure for starting this race has been worked out. For that story, here's Dr. Dick Berggren in the pit area. Dick?
Well, Bob, all the drivers have donned their driving suits. They're all sitting in their cars strapped in, and the plan is that in a few moments they're going to start all these race cars, run them around the racetrack, and try to dry this speedway out. And if we get lucky, if we get real lucky, and the rain stops, and the racetrack is dry, everybody will come into the pit stop, make a pit stop, and refuel, so everybody will have an equal chance at things. And then, if we get real lucky, we might see the start of a race. I hope so. Everybody here would like to see this thing happen. Bob?
But it looks like that it's beginning to rain again, and in fact, the cars are being covered up once again. So just when we thought we were out of the woods, Ned, here it comes again.
It did look good for so long, and the fans had filled the grandstands. The drivers, as you could see, had put on their driving suits. They crawled in their cars and were ready, really, to crank them up and go out when the rain started falling again.
Very interesting procedure there with having the track dried by the cars themselves, the laps not counting, and then coming in and actually starting the race then. So it was somewhat of a change of procedure for NASCAR. Dr. Jerry Punch is in the pit area for a conversation with Alan Kulwicki, who'll start outside the front row.
talk about disappointment for the season. Alan Kulwicki has been so close in 81 races he's run since his Winston Cup career began, and he has yet to get that first victory. And Alan, last week was another example of just the kind of gremlins that have been riding with you here in this Z-Rex Ford.
Well, you know, we did have a really good run going last week. It's too bad we didn't win that race, but it's over and done with. It's time to move on to the next race. And, you know, we've been close a number of times. It's not like we're just getting lucky at one track where we might win, but we're competitive most everywhere we go. And that's the encouraging thing, and that's really what tries to keep us going and work hard during the week to prepare for the next race. And I think we're going to get one pretty soon. I've watched a number of other drivers' careers, and you know, Bill Elliott, for one, you know, he was close a number of times before he won his first race. It's just sort of a hump that you have to get over.
Some of the car owners here have said that this man, Alan Kulwicki, is the next superstar in Winston Cup racing. They say that Junior Johnson, Bud Moore, Glenn Wood, all of them have said you're the man of the future. And a lot of them have talked to you about driving their cars down the road. But as of now, you're going to stay put with your own team next year?
It looks that way. I've had a number of offers to drive, but, you know, we've made a lot of progress with this team, and, you know, we're just on the verge of winning one. It's a hard thing to walk away from, and, you know, as of right now, it looks like we'll be back with this team, and Xerox is a sponsor next year.
Alan Kulwicki on the outside front row here for the Holly Farms 400. He will start alongside Bill Elliott. Kulwicki still searching for that first win here in the Z-Rex Ford. Kulwicki has run well here in the past, and he will try to do it today, pick up that first win. But for now, we say so long. From North Wilkesboro, we'll go back to Columbus, Ohio, and Ken Squire.
We're with you live here in Columbus, Ohio. I know you'd expected to be in North Wilkesboro right now, but there is inclement weather in the east. So here we are with 36 cars just about ready for a go. It has turned out to be a gorgeous day. We're 10 minutes and counting into the start for these drivers in Camel Light as well as prototype competition. And for just a quick moment, let's go down to Bob Varsha on pit road.
Dan Marvin of El Sobrante, California, brings a perfect record into today's 300-kilometer event. He'll sit on the pole in Camel Lights. Dan, you're going to be able to keep that 3 for 3, 3 wins and 3 starts intact?
Well, I sure hope so. This Huffaker-built Pontiac engine is just the ticket for this track. It's very torquey. It's drivable, flexible. I think with a little bit of luck and a little bit of reliability here, which I don't think will be a problem, I think we'll be able to bring it home.
Do you see yourself as a spoiler in this great points fight between Tom Hessert and Jim Downing in Lights?
Well, I may be getting in between there and changing the absolute number of points that those guys are piling up, but I'm kind of the new kid on the block, and I'm well down in the points myself, so my finishing position won't really figure in the overall driver standings at the end of the year.
Street circuits are notoriously unforgivable. You've had very little practice time here in Columbus for a lot of different reasons. How's that going to affect the way you go into this one?
Well, for some reason, most people think I should have my head examined. I enjoy street circuits a lot, and we'll have to be careful. You never know what you're going to have in your lap around the next corner, but I guess guarded optimism is my watchword here today.
Going for his 4th win in as many starts at Camel Lights, Dan Marvin. Good luck to you. Let's go back now to Ken Squire.
1 year ago, one driver pulled a Babe Ruth here. He rather predicted that he was going to come out on top, and indeed he did. And now he's come back, and he carries the Chevrolet colors higher than anyone else here in the race. And we're talking about Dublin, Ohio. This is his local track. That's Bobby Rahal, the '86 Indianapolis champion, who has pulled himself into a qualifying spot to lead all Chevrolets for this event. Bill, a remarkable job.
Well, it's almost getting to be a typical job for Bobby. Any other racetrack in the country, and he is merely brilliant. At Ohio, he is just about God. He is incredible when he gets here, pumped up in front of his hometown crowd, obviously.
And he's standing by on pit road now.
Well, we're down here with Bobby Rahal, and Bobby getting ready for the start of the race. You managed to put the car in qualifying, Bobby, and many people thought that you'd be able to push the Corvette that high.
Well, we tried. You know, we got our work cut out for us, but I feel like we've got a good chance today. We just have to make sure we don't make any mistakes and we stay out of trouble.
Can you win this race 2 times in a row?
Well, that's what I'm here for.
And folks here in Columbus, Ohio, I guarantee you are pulling for that.
The presence of Al Holbert, killed in that Friday night plane crash, is very strong here in Columbus today. Bob Varsha offers this retrospective.
In a sport where athlete and machine each have a life of their own, Loyalties are ephemeral, associations short-lived. It was not so with Porsche and Al Holbert, the most successful American road racer ever. They shared a career. Together, they were magical. The magic number for this day in Columbus, Ohio was to be 50. This could have been the day that the Porsche 962 won its 50th IMSA race. It could still happen. This could also have been the day that Al Holbert won his 50th IMSA race. That will not happen. The son of one of America's best road racers of the 50s and 60s, Al Holbert was introduced to racing by watching and helping his father, Bob.
First time I became aware of Al, I was riding with Bob and Eleanor Holbert, Mom and Dad, and little Al, who was about 9 years old, I think, at that time, out to a race in Cumberland, Maryland. And we, being cooped up in a car like that, you get sort of a personal view of what a guy is like. And from the time Al was 9, I don't think he ever changed.
Influenced by his father and one of his early idols, the late Mark Donahue, Holbert entered his first race in 1971, driving a Porsche. He won. Those were the days of the Model 911 in America, driven by the likes of Peter Gregg. In 1974, Holbert won his first race as a professional, this time in a Porsche Carrera. Peter Gregg was still the Porsche standard bearer. He and Holbert staged epic battles on America's road courses. In 1976, Holbert decided to move on. He drove a Chevrolet to his first International Motorsports Association championship. He also drove in NASCAR, on the Can-Am series, and on the kart IndyCar circuit. But it was in sports cars that Al Holbert would gain his greatest fame. He returned to IMSA racing and urged Porsche to build a new sports car to meet the new prototype rules. The result was the car with which Holbert Racing would dominate the series for the next 4 years, the Model 962.
Yeah, I think the 962 was the car that made it easy for a lot of people to go racing. It was truly a turnkey race car, aside from being a fast race car. And that enabled a lot of teams that didn't have necessarily the expertise to design and build a car to come and race and make a good show and attract good sponsorship and make good racing.
Holbert drove the 962 to 24 IMSA victories. Other teams added 25 more, often thanks to the refinements engineered and tested by Holbert on his own car. In 1983, Porsche invited Holbert to join the factory team at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. He responded to the compliment with a victory in his greatest drive, beating, among others, the man who would soon become his partner, Derek Bell.
And Al had a car that was absolutely dying under his hands, you know, and he drove that thing with smoke pouring out, and I think his drive there, sort of nursing that car to the finish line and sort of it actually sort of almost crumbling into a heap as it crossed the checkered flag line was a sign of his sort of ability. He knew how much that car could take, and it wouldn't take him any further even if you thought it would at that point. But I think that was the finest drive I'll remember him for.
Bell, the dashing world champion from England, paired with Holbert, the quiet, religious American, becoming the most successful driving team of the decade. They shared 16 IMSA victories. In 1986, Bell and Holbert won the two 24-hour races at Daytona and Le Mans back-to-back, the first time ever. In 1987, they did it again. Al Holbert was a quiet man. He was also complex. In 1986, his schedule as a car dealer, race team owner, driver, and company racing manager were not enough of a challenge. He urged Porsche into a new racing arena, Indy cars. His old friend and partner, Derek Bell, wanted to take over the IMSA driving, but Bell was British. Holbert wanted an American driver. He chose Chip Robinson and guided him to the 1987 championship.
He would just really help you build your confidence, and he cared about what you did, and it meant something to him. It wasn't just, you know, the bottom line or go out. There was more than that.
Al Holbert came to Columbus on Friday to help his team. That night, he started to fly home to Warrington, Pennsylvania, to take his son Todd to a Saturday football game. He planned to return to Columbus for today's race. maybe even to share the cockpit for win number 50. That is not to be. But on pit road, they will tell you that every Porsche racer, now and in the future, shares his cockpit with Al Holbert.
Tight sequence here. We're back out of second gear. Accelerate gently up across this bridge. With all that power, you can really get sideways in a hurry. Hard braking. A little bit of squiggling there. Watching for oil slicks. Out here, look at this. Right up against the wall. Tight around a long, long corner here. Almost blind. Again, very hard braking. And back down to second gear once again. Exiting very carefully again. A little bit of bump you have to watch. Carl get really sideways in a hurry. Flash up to third and bend here very carefully. Now hard on the power. A little bit of a straight again. Long stretch in third gear, up into fourth just for a flash, but immediately back down to third, back to second once again. Little shot from here. You just get on the gas for a brief moment and finesse the car through. Watch those walls. Third gear, fourth gear, up to 135 miles an hour along here before we're back again under braking. And this corner up ahead, a critical area for passing and setting us up for the entrance to the back straight. Second, third, fourth, fifth gear, and once again, back up to that 160 miles an hour under the railroad bridge, completes our lap at Columbus.
And if you had the sense that our colleague Bill Adam would like to be out there today, you very much have it right.
Well, I would like to be out there today. It's just a beautiful day for racing, and this is one of the finest GTP fields we've seen all year.
Indeed, with a field of some 23 prototypes ready to do battle here today. Let's take a look right now at the starting lineup for this Columbus 500. Starting lineup for the 1988 Columbus 500. On the pole for Team Nissan. 9th time they've been on the pole. First time for this man since 1979. Ireland's Derek Daly at the controls. Outside of row 1 for Team Nissan seeking the IMSA championship. Australian native Jeff Brabham. Going to row number 2, from Dublin, Ohio, defending champion here, Bobby Rahal in the Hendrick Corvette. And alongside the Jaguar, England's Martin Brundle and Denmark's John Nielsen at the controls. For the third row, the second Jaguars on the inside, the Netherlands' Jan Lammers and U.S. star Davy Jones. Going 6th is the 86 Columbus 500 winner. That's Frenchman Bob Wallach with Mauro Baldi. Going to row number 4, the new Peerless Corvette starts in the 7th position with England's David Hobbs and the American Jack Baldwin. outside of that row, it's Cyril Vandermerver in another Hendrick Corvette, assisted by Elliott Forbes Robinson. Moving to row number 5. In the 9th starting position is the first of the Ford contingent. Pete Halsmer is there. And outside is the Porsche 962 of the 85 winner of this event, Price Cobb. His co-driver, James Weaver of England. Let's take a look at row 6 now. There you find Dyson and Pruitt. Remember, Scott drove to victory in '86 in this event, co-drove. Then it's Bruce Levin and Klaus Ludwig in the brand new Porsche 962, state-of-the-art car. For row number 7 today, there you have Graham and Jourdain and Jim Hotchkiss and Adams in their number 10 car. Row 8 on this lineup, Durston Brockman ready to do duty, and McAdam and Meade in the Fab car start outside of that row. For row 9 today, Pompelli and Wood in the second of the Fords, and then it is Moretti and Phillips, and that's a 962, not the Buick. There you see it there, the number 30 in row 9 on the outside. For row 10 is Dan Marvin leading in Camel Lights, and right beside him comes the second Ludwig and Levin 962, the number 85 car. Following then is row 11, and it's Hessert battling in this, or his team is battling for the Camel Light Championship. And there you see the number 63 of Jim Downing. It will be Downing in that car for this race. In row 12, it's Colin Truman, Dad, who has so much responsibility for this particular race, and then Ricci and Bellalina on the outside. Row 13 today, Skeeter McKettrick will be in number 79, and Jelinek is scheduled to start in the number 36. For row 14, Scott Schubot will go the entire distance. Linda Ludeman only as a standby today. Loring will start in the 19, Hessert the co-driver there. For the 15th row, there you have Costas Loos. Winters will be standing by. It should be Loos all the way. Then Jim Downing and Katz in their second car, number 70. For row 16, Beery and Zing at number 40, and then the Brown and Billy Hagan car starts outside of row 16. Row 17, there you find the Higgins car, number 42, and he'll be doing the driving chore, we understand there, and the Miller Rose car, number 38 on the outside. Row 18 today, and there you have Roger Mandeville's number 93, and Bob Earl all the way on the back of the grid. That Pontiac lost 3 engines this week. It has come out. It will start in the rear, Klein the co-driver.
Now, for those of you that think you may be having a delusion, we are not at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. This is not the Holly Farms 400. There is a rain delay there, and weather permitting, we will be going there to pick up that race, and the balance of this race would then be shown on a tape delay. But you are now in Columbus, Ohio.
And we're live, and we're watching the Nissans up in front. Derek Daly, number 84 for the pole. Jeff Brabham beside him, the 9th time that Nissan has been on the pole this year. They get ready for a start today. It'll be a very dramatic moment for Derek Daly, injured badly in an Indianapolis car crash at Michigan some, 84, 85, 3 years ago.
Yeah, I believe it was.
Here he is ready to go again, and Jeff Brabham, who is his neighbor up in Noblesville, Indiana, literally talked him through this circuit and talked him right onto the pole. Here they come. Down to the green as Nissan tries to win the IMSA championship. Here in Columbus, we're live and underway.
It looked like Bobby Rahal. Yeah, he did. Bobby got a very, very good start there and slotted himself right on the tail of the Nissans going into a heavy braking area, and I think he does have second place.
Indeed, Bobby Rahal, winner here 1 year ago for Bruce Levin, takes over in second place in the Hendrick Corvette number 22.
Oh, Bobby just gets so pumped up for these races, and I think that is Brabham that has grabbed the lead right off the start. He, of course, is far more familiar with this car, knows how much of a turbo lag to anticipate, whereas Derek is obviously going to be very, very careful with it.
Jeff Brabham is in the lead. Rahal is in second, and Daly has dropped into third spot. Rundle, driving the number 66 Jag, finds himself in the 4th position. Jan Lammers is in 5th. In-car pictures from the VF Goodrich number 67 car in 6th spot. Bob Wollick at the controls as they go down the Civic Center Drive, live here in Columbus. And from the Panasonic in-car, which is running in the Camel Light Series and going to the championship today. See them a little further back here. Back with the leader, and here is the Brabham number 83 up in front.
This is a sight that we're becoming so familiar with this year. an incredible 700-plus horsepower vehicle with unbelievable traction. It really, and look at this, further back in the picture, we see the other Nissan is challenging Rahal and has got him braking at the end of the straight. That's 160 miles an hour, right down to 35 miles an hour at this point. And here, he's laying on a lot of power, as much as he can possibly give. But look at Brabham, really stretching a strong lead, early in the race. These are such impressive cars. They have not really shown any signs of weakness this year as they've been driven, other than that road course weakness. And of course, at Miami, they had braking problems. At San Antonio, Texas, because of this tremendous power and the traction. The traction is equally as important. They broke a drive shaft.
Gentlemen, we may have just watched the most important pass of the race for the Nissan team. Remember, as Derek Daly told us at the top of the show, this is a two-pronged attack. They not only want to win Jeff Brabham the Drivers' Championship, they want to win the Manufacturers' Championship for themselves. To do that, Derek Daly has to insert himself between Brabham and the other cars in the field, particularly the Porsches. Although he's just passed Bobby Rahal for second place, anytime anybody comes close, watch for Derek Daly to get back on the charge.
Something else, too, I think we can look for here. If Derek Daly, right there, in that number 84 car, were to win this race, he would not only take home the $25,000 first place prize money, he would also get a $50,000 bonus from this Camel Pyramid, since it would be a first-time win for that car and that driver. So there's a heck of a lot of money involved there. Now, theoretically, Daly could win that money, and Brabham comes second. That would still lock up the championship for Jeff. So from a financial standpoint, it may benefit them to use those type of theories.
John Morton pulled out of the cockpit of number 84. Derek Daly inserted. John, badly injured in a crash earlier this year at Lime Rock, Connecticut. They brought him back, and then he made the choice, as we understand. He wasn't totally fit. He wanted this team to have every effort to bring home a championship if possible. And so Derek Daly has taken over, and they run first and second now in the early moments of this Columbus 500. From the in-car camera, number 67, running in sixth place, Bob Woolick's car.
This will give you a really excellent idea on just how much force and reaction there is through that steering wheel. Just entering the bridge here, coming up towards the pits. Watch the wheel, it'll kick back in his hands. He's hard on it into second gear now, easing into a corner, but totally blind. You can't even see where he wants to get on the power. And look at those concrete walls. Any other track, you can make a little bit of an error, and you're going to slide off or maybe even spin off. But here, if you're half an inch wrong, that means you're going to rip the side of the car off.
Washington Boulevard now over the Town Street Bridge in Columbus, Ohio, about to make a hard turn, left-hand turn, and go down Civic Center Drive. Leading, it is Nissan. First and second, they can win the IMSA Championship. Who would have believed it at the start of the season when Jaguar came home victorious at Daytona? Remarkable performance by the Electromotive team. Jeff Brabham continues to scoot through the streets of Columbus, leading here today. Again, NASCAR Winston Cup competition will be coming to you live on ESPN if the weather gets better in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. We'll be back with more of the Columbus 500 in a moment.
From the people who taught you to expect a lot of car for the money, well, here comes another lesson. Before you buy a car, test drive a Fox at your local Volkswagen dealer.
Bob Strange, B.F. Goodrich test engineer.
After years of testing B.F. Goodrich tires, we've developed the all-weather Concierge. It's a real performer in any kind of weather. I believe the all-weather Concierge is the best high-performance all-weather tire in the world. I mean all-weather.
B.F. Goodrich TAs, tested tough to make your car perform.
A tradition of horsepower. For the second consecutive year, Budweiser racing teams captured 3 national championships. Bobby Rahal in the Bud Indy car. Kenny Bernstein in the Budweiser King. And Jim Kropfeld in Miss Budweiser. It's a tradition of horsepower that keeps Budweiser ahead of the pack. Racing fans,
Well, just at the end of Washington Boulevard, Bruce Levin has brought the brand new Porsche 962 to a halt after a skirmish down there, which we can show you what happened to him with this brand new car.
Now, just a real heavy braking area. Bruce starts to turn in, and a little bit of contact with the car. Now, look, he cannot turn. The car goes straight and whomp. That's where you really appreciate a tire barrier sitting there. It has destroyed the fiberglass nose section of that car, but the car itself and the driver are all right. He just could not turn in because he was forced out.
From the Northwest, Bruce Levin, brand new $500,000 car in dire straits here in the early going. We're coming to you live from Columbus.
Well, gentlemen, let's not be too hasty in blaming Bruce Levin for that accident. That car is not entirely dialed in, and here's the reason. It's the future of IMSA racing. It's a twin turbocharged Porsche that was brought over from Germany this past Monday. The previous Friday, the team had been told that they weren't going to be able to get the car into the country because the customs people wouldn't let it go because the Environmental Protection Agency hadn't examined it. The EPA hadn't examined it because it hadn't been brought into the country yet. The team worked all weekend to get a mountain of paperwork moved to Washington. They got the car on Monday, put it on a truck Tuesday. It came here to Columbus on Wednesday. They worked 48 straight hours to prepare it for racing. It went out in practice. Klaus Ludwig wasn't happy with it. He took the 85 car. Team owner Bruce Levin gets the state-of-the-art machine.
And that was not his test of the 5-mile-an-hour bumper that we just watched there.
It's about a 45 to 55-mile-an-hour test of that barrier
by Bruce Levin. His team has won here the last 2 years and has finished second the other year they ran the event. Pretty good finishing record for Bruce Levin's people.
Oh, and here's a pace car out, and obviously they're going to put that out to clean it out of the way. And for the NASCAR fans watching, you're going to get the same thing. We're going to get the field all bunched up and get to start racing all over again.
It's Jeff Brabham first, Derek Daly second, Ray Hall is in third, the Jaguar of Martin Brundle, his co-driver Nielsen in fourth, then in fifth is Jan Lammers in another Jag, and a Porsche 962 lies sixth with Bob Walling.
I'll also mention for your NASCAR fans, it is still raining in North Wilkesboro, unfortunately, so we can't watch the show yet.
And the prediction was that we were going to have rain here today, 60 to 70% potential. That has been eradicated, and we have a great afternoon. The sun is out, skies are blue, and we'll be back for more of the Columbus 500 after these messages.
We used to sell a Volkswagen for people with more sense than money. We still do. Before you buy a car, test drive a Volkswagen Fox at your local Volkswagen dealer.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality.
We engineer quality into every drop of Quaker State motor oil. Only Quaker State has QSX, an advanced formula proven to run clean for unbeatable protection from wear and tear.
Before our oil's good enough for your car, we prove that it works in our car.
Quaker State quality. We don't just talk about it, we live by it.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
And on NFL primetime, it's the Bills and Bears in a showdown at Soldier. Also, will Boomer and the Bengals stay unbeaten against the Raiders? And can the Rams make it 5 in a row? Find out all the answers on NFL Primetime with Pete Axthelm, Tom Jackson, John Saunders, and yours truly.
Live from Columbus, Ohio, the Columbus Ford Dealers 500, and here you see Team Nissan in first and second place. A rare opportunity here in the Midwest to see cars racing through the streets. It's the streets of Columbus, Ohio, a city that may not be as well known to some of you as some others. Marty Reed, a hometowner, gave us a quick look at Columbus, Ohio.
Time was not so long ago that when you said the name of my city, Columbus, people thought that Cowtown where Ohio State football was played. Well, the Cows are still here at the University School of Agriculture, and yes, football is still here also. In fact, yesterday, the Illini upset Ohio State 31-12. Disappointing, 90,000 at Ohio Stadium. But in fact, our city has turned into quite a sports town. Jack Nicklaus, a native son, brought the Memorial Tournament to his own Muirfield Village Golf Club. And USA Today ranks Columbus in the top 5 as best places to locate a Major League Baseball franchise. And the city is ready with a plan to expand Cooper Stadium, the current home of the New York Yankees AAA farm team. There are other features of Columbus. We're the state capital, but you probably knew that. And the skyline, once dominated by the Lincoln Levesque building, is growing. It's tenanted increasingly by corporate headquarters of major companies such as Borton's and Wendy's. And bucking a national trend, support for the arts, such as the Columbus Symphony under the direction of Grammy Award winner Christian Badia, is also growing. And when the Nick Nolte film Teachers was made, it was filmed at the venerable old Central High School. The name was changed to John F. Kennedy High. In March, it will become the site of the Son of Heaven ancient Chinese artifact exhibit. And the building site is part of a new major downtown development project. So, Ken, that's a little bit about my home, Columbus, a city on the move. This weekend, just a little bit faster than most others.
Marching to a very special tempo. Thank you, Marty Reed. Great piece about the city of Columbus, where you see Team Nissan out in front. It's Brabham first and Derek Daly. You know, these two guys go back a ways. And you think about it, Bill, they didn't just come into this for this event. Back in the 70s, they were together in Europe in Formula 3 competition in those days. And I believe that it was Derek Daly who won in Formula 3, and Jeff Brabham was second back in the late 70s.
It's funny, what goes around comes around. Very interesting, too. I chatted with Derek yesterday, just comparing the Indy cars, the kart vehicles, with the GTP car. And he finds the Nissan is faster accelerating than his kart car. Really amazing.
That's incredible. Derek Daly was telling me that the last time he sat on a pole was 1979. He said, of course, then I get an IndyCar racing, Formula 1, a little more competitive thing, but he was back in the Formula 2 days in 79 until he came here to Columbus, that he's had an opportunity to start right on the point. He's taken a good advantage here. He lies second. Jeff Brabham is first. And you see Bobby Rahal in third, the man that won it a year ago after he called the shot. He told his wife the day before, I'm going to take this one home, and did so.
Yep. Saw Bobby and Debbie wandering around here yesterday, and I'm sure Debbie would be very happy for her husband to do that once again. There's a fan watching all these exciting cars out there right now.
Tremendous crowd has gathered. A little light this morning and looked terribly foreboding for weather, but it has straightened out, made us a beautiful day for this Columbus Ford Dealers 500, which has, after we mentioned the top three, Jaguars running fourth and fifth. Brundle is there. 7 of the 81 laps are now complete. Lammers is running in fifth. Wallach is in sixth. Cyril Vandemerver has brought the second Corvette up to the 7th position. And David Hobbs with the new Peerless Corvette is being shown in 8th position. David qualified very well in the number 76 Budweiser car, which you saw right there. We should be getting a start very shortly. Let's pause for these messages and be back for the green to fall.
From the people who taught you to expect a lot of car for the money, well, here comes another lesson. Before you buy a car, test drive a Fox at your local Volkswagen dealer.
BF Goodrich Update 14 with Bob Strange, test engineer. Subject, racing dynamics.
Often tires can be the deciding factor in a race, but they must be made to work in conjunction with the suspension and aerodynamics of the car. Here to explain further is team owner Jim Busby.
There are many factors that will determine how well the modern-day racing car will get its power to the ground. We use tires as a tuning device. We also have adjustments for caster, camber, toe-in, toe-out, and ground clearance that will also help that in performance. We can use chassis rake and a combination of wing angles to determine the aerodynamic downloading on the car. By changing any one of these devices or adjustments, we're capable of changing the handling characteristics radically on the car.
Thanks, Jim. Racing in cars such as this, and under these widely varying conditions, helps us to bring you a better high-performance tire.
BF Goodrich TAs, tested tough to make your car perform.
We're at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway. I'm Bob Jenkins, and things are looking better again as the rain is holding off for the moment. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who is out in the weather, and he can update us on exactly what the conditions are. Jerry?
Well, Bob, it has stopped raining about 10 minutes ago, and as you can hear, the field has come to life. They have fired the 30 starters here at Wilkesboro, and they're going to put the race cars on the racetrack and try to get some heat into the asphalt. That will dry the track much quicker than running safety vehicles around the racetrack. Now, what they're going to try to do is run these cars for a little while. They'll bring them down pit road to top off the tanks and possibly go to green and start running the race. But the bad news, we are starting to feel some more raindrops here in North Wilkesboro. Let's go back in the garage area to Dick Berggren. Dick?
Well, I'm with the hottest driver in the field, and he's Benny Parsons. Nothing's happened. No car has moved, although they're starting to. And this guy has already picked up 2 spots. How'd he do it? 2 competitors, Morgan Shepherd and Rick Wilson, have chosen to go on Hoosier tires after they qualified on Goodyear. That kicked them back in the field. Benny was dead last. He's picked up 2 spots already. If we still have some more rain, these guys could be thinking about what they're going to change on these cars. Who knows? Benny may start on the pole. Bob?
Thank you, Dick. And you can see the cars begin to move out now. Remember, they are only out there to dry the track. They are not racing at the moment. We will continue to update you. Right now, we go back to Columbus, Ohio.
We're back with you in Columbus, Ohio. The green flag just out, and we're watching Jeff Brabham pull away from Derek Daly in second place. Bobby Rahall's Corvette maintaining that 3rd spot with the Jaguars, then running in 4th and 5th. Green and white colors of number 60 and 66. Bill Adam alongside, watching the action on this 2.3-mile, 9-turn road course. A great day, a wonderful crowd here in Columbus, Ohio, to enjoy what could be the greatest moment of the year for Nissan.
Rahal is spun coming onto the bridge that crossed over the river at one point. A very dangerous, very difficult spot to get himself out of because he's in a blind corner. He's going to try and spin that car around as quickly as he can, and really he's just blocking traffic right now for somebody. Oh, come on, Bobby, move it. You can see he has to be so careful when he backs up. He cannot just get the luxury of backing as quickly as he wants, because he doesn't want to damage that wing. Very critical on a high-speed road course like this. He does not want to lose the rear downforce, and he has lost a tremendous amount of time. He is underway, no damage, the car is fine, and he won't have flat spotted the tires.
And he didn't lose any body work, which could have happened there.
Right,
you can see.
I don't think he will have to make a pit stop. He's just going to have to charge back up through the field here now, and there he goes. He's charging already.
Give one of the corner workers right on top of it and alerting those drivers behind Rahal in that blind corner. There was trouble in front, and nobody nipped the Hendrick Corvette.
That's right. This car is owned by Rick Hendrick, the same owner as a great many NASCAR teams.
Earl Waltrip's car, the Jeff Bodine car, and the Schrader car on a Winston Cup colors, all flown by Hendrick Racing Stable, and this is their Corvette in IMSA competition, number 22. That's 2 cars.
That's an owner that likes racing.
That is an owner that does like racing. Now, notice that number 6 did get tagged somewhere.
That's the NTW Ford, their Tom Milner's team. That, again, is a turbocharged car, a very small 4-cylinder Ford engine with a turbocharger that can put out something between 625 or 650 horsepower. But again, it's got a real lag problem. Watch the Corvette, and oh, he's not even going to wait until he finishes the corner, just diving inside at the entrance.
That's on that very difficult horseshoe turn. Hard braking area. That's a place you can do a lot of passing. Tom Pompelli falling back a spot as Rahal begins to weave his way back through the streets of Columbus and gather it back up. He's coming into Long Street. Let's go back with the leaders again and see how Jeff Brabham is doing. The Manufacturers' Championship, the Drivers' title, both at stake for Jeff Brabham in car number 83, Australian-born, now lives in Noblesville, Indiana, and his neighbor from Noblesville, right there in second, Derek Daly.
We can see a yellow flag being waved in the background, too. That is warning oncoming traffic. There's a car parked off to the side there, and just be that extra little bit careful when you're coming in here, fellas.
The Jaguar, number 66, now takes over in third, Martin Brundle. Well known from his Formula One career, stays a steady third, and right behind him comes the Netherlands, Jan Lammers in number 60. 9 countries represented in today's race here in Ohio, and the battle up in front for Don Devendorf. A moment come true if these 2 cars can stand the abuse, which you, Bill Adam, have some reservations about. Now we're inside the Panasonic car. This is in the Camel Light category. That's Jim Downing's number 63, running in the second position. Currently, Hessert's number 9. The Buick Taiga is running up in front. Dave Loring is driving the number 9 up in front. And there you see that green car. That's it. Leading in Camel Light, and you're with the second place man now.
We'll also give a little further explanation over this light classic that you hear us talking about. This is very similar to the full GT prototype you're watching today that's leading the race, only a much smaller engine displacement. Great deal smaller. They are not allowed to run turbochargers, and they're given a lighter weight brake, so they can hopefully be competitive, but they are not yet up to challenging a full prototype class.
Many feel they're moving targets for these mighty prototypes, which run 30 to 40 miles per hour faster. But on a street course like this, with so many blind left and right-hand 90-degree turns, they're big equalizers here.
Oh,
you just, as you can see, you can't see out a back window. There isn't one there. Just motor.
Just tight battles all over the track here. You see that? I think that was Dan Marvin just putting a pass
Taking
there.
second place. You just saw him move into second place for Marvin and the Pontiac Firebird. Beautiful car.
That number 55 has been a remarkably successful car of late. They have really got the right combination of crew working on it. The chassis is all dialed in. And there is a problem there, similar to what you can run into on the super speedways. When you get debris that'll blow into the radiator, or radiator, sorry about that, Ken, into that thing up front that cools the water down, it can block it off and, of course, get overheating.
We have an announcement just this past week that Pontiac, 7 days ago, 8 days ago, that Pontiac was withdrawing from IMSA, the factory support for this, and they've won the light championship the last couple of years with remarkable cars. They've had a great prototype this year in competition with the bigger cars, but that car has cost them 22 engines, and they were a little unhappy about the rules for 1989. I still think you're going to see a lot of Pontiacs fielded by such teams as this car, number 55.
Well, here we are back in the VF Goodrich. This is the Porsche 962 with the engine is done by Ed Pink, the old drag race man.
Running fifth.
Fifth place, and here we go. Watch this bump right there. This throws you right out up against that concrete wall, and you're accelerating as hard as you can. You're getting down 600-700 horsepower.
And you see he's closing up on the Jaguar. That is the number 60 Lammers, and number 40 going up in smoke here. Oh, that's a tough moment for Gaston Andre's team. Yuli Berry of Toronto in that Ferrari Taiga comes unglued here.
Yeah, and it looks like he is coming unglued there. I think he's laying down a little trail of oil. Yes, he is.
Oh, and that's the worst place he could do it, on Spring Street, right under that bridge. Oh, and there come the leaders right behind him, about 30 or 40 miles an hour faster. You really can't get two cars at full speed underneath that railroad bridge.
You know, and this an additional duty of a driver. If he runs into a problem like that, and he has mirrors, he can see there's an oil problem out the back. He should keep well off the line in case the car is dropping oil out of the surface.
Martin Brundle in third place. Number 66 is closing. Brundle is definitely moving up. The Formula One veteran in car number 66 for Team Jaguar. Winner at the 24 Hours of Daytona at the outset of the season is right up there, ready to challenge now those brilliant colors for the 12-cylinder car.
Oh, well, we watched a remarkable run by Martin Brundle at Sears Point, California, where he came up, closed on Brabham, finally passed him cleanly, took the lead and was pulling away. So the car and the driver definitely have the potential to do it, and I think Martin is scheduled to do it alone today.
England's Martin Brundle for Team Jaguar, 12-cylinder car, pulling up on these Turbo 6s that are Team Nissan power plant. For just a second, Bill, let's talk about those engines once again for our NASCAR Winston Cup fans. Again, North Wilkesboro getting rain today, so we're with you live right now from Columbus, Ohio. Should they get underway in North Wilkesboro at the Holly Farms 400, we'll go right there so you won't miss a moment of it.
Right. Now, the Nissan car, the one you see in your picture with the headlights on, that one and its teammate following, are turbocharged 3-liter V6 engines. These are 183 cubic inches, but because they're smaller, they're allowed to run a turbocharger to bring that horsepower up in excess of 700, and some people say maybe over 800. The Jaguar, by comparison, is not allowed a turbo because it is a 6-liter engine, twice the displacement size, but it has straight fuel injection in place. It, in turn, puts out something around 650 horsepower as well. What the Jaguar does gain is immediate response, and a situation where you have to back off the gas for a second and then step on it again.
And when we come back, Bill, we'll stop talking about that funny stuff and talk about that Hendrick Corvette and some of those real engines out here today. More from Columbus in a moment.
Better. Expect when you invest at Schwab. Ask a Schwab customer.
My experience is Schwab people are professional and helpful. But what's most important is they're not out to sell you something you don't want or need.
When I want to buy a particular stock and the market's closed, I simply pick up the phone and call Schwab.
And yes, they're there, 24 hours a day.
A few years back, I found I had some money to invest. I'd had some prior experience with a full commission broker, but now I learned enough to make my own investing decisions. It's easy to do business at Schwab. They're efficient, accurate, and very courteous.
For a free booklet, What a Discount Broker Can Do for You, call toll-free 800-851-6600. That's 800-851-6600. Call Schwab now.
59,000.
No,
We used to sell a Volkswagen for people with more sense than money. We still do. Before you buy a car, test drive a Volkswagen Fox at your local Volkswagen dealer.
His name is Ayrton Senna, and he's been burning up the tracks on the Formula One circuit all season long. He'll be back in the fast lane at the Grand Prix of Spain, Monday night at 9 Eastern on ESPN.
Well, the track management here at North Wilkesboro and NASCAR tried their best, but things just weren't to be here today as they sent the cars out onto the track to dry it, but then it started to rain again. The cars have been moved back into the garage area, and that means that this race has been postponed until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Jerry Punch is in the garage area.
Well, Bob, as you mentioned, they have brought the cars back in the garage area. They've lined them up here. Well, NASCAR will impound the cars one by one. Here's the Elliott car that will start on the pole tomorrow. Rusty Wallace climbing out of his car back here. So the entire starting field here at North Wilkesboro will be impounded tonight by the NASCAR officials, and hopefully with clear skies tomorrow, we will go to green at 11 a.m. tomorrow for the Holly Farms 400.
All right, now the last rainout in a Winston Cup race was in 1987, last year at Watkins Glen. So what happens during an impound, Ned?
Well, of course, they're not permitted to work on the car, certainly not permitted to take the cars away from the garage area. I would assume that they might go through an inspection again. However, they have enough NASCAR officials to watch these cars until everybody has left the garage area to be sure that no work is done on them. So I'm not sure if they will have to go through inspection again tomorrow morning before they roll them out on the line, but I suspect they will.
In any case, we are finished for the day here at North Wilkesboro. A rainout and a reschedule for 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we will be here. In the meantime, we have racing for you this afternoon as we go back to Columbus, Ohio in the IMSA race.
Well, back in Columbus, the bad news is Bobby Rahal is out of the race. Bob, what happened?
Oh, I missed a shift, and I just over-revved it to about 8,400 and ate the red line, and ran a couple more laps, and we're trying to catch back up, and then all of a sudden it just started to rattle, and, you know, rather than blow it up, but, you know, obviously it had enough.
Obviously, disappointment. Was there any extra pressure as far as the hometown fans? I think once after the spin?
I was feeling really good because you know, the car was handling reasonably well. I don't know what happened on the spin. Just like I hit some oil or water or something. It just came right around, and because it was fine after that, and then it happened again right towards the end. Like I had something leaking that might have been getting on the tires, but who knows? It's just disappointing because the car was running good. I thought we were in there with a chance.
Columbus's favorite out of the race. Ken?
Last year's winner, Bobby Rahal, two-time kart champion. Not going to make it today here at Columbus. An event which the man who really fostered his career had so much to do with, Jim Truman. It was one of his favorite events to bring a big motorsports event for charity through the streets of Columbus, Ohio. And of course, gave us, well, I think, is one of the most beautiful tracks in America, Mid-Ohio. Look at the tough track we have here.
Yeah, and a point I should bring out right here, too, that the Nissan leading Jeff Brabham's car and the Jaguar Martin Brundle are both running with headlights on. This is not something normal required by racing cars. They are not going through dark sections, for those of you wondering. It's simply for traffic they're coming up on. It maybe will get that person to notice them just that little bit quicker and make sure they see them to make a good, safe pass. That's all it's for.
Derek Daly continuing to run second. The Campbell Light cars are Daly's biggest concern for this race.
The thing with racing two different classes in the one race, you have to be so aware of the slower car in front of you. And sometimes you see accidents where the slower guy takes the quicker car out, and it's unfair to blame the slower cars all the time because they're having a race of their own too. But I think tomorrow's strategy will be presume the slower cars don't see you and never make the pass until you're 100% clear and sure that you're going to get through.
But Derek has a problem here. That is, those slower cars are there, but nipping away at the tail end of that number 84 is the Jaguar of Martin Brundle. And they have to scoot right along or be overrun by Brundle, who loves these kind of courses. He attacks all the time. Brundle is simply brilliant. This driver in number 66. Watch him try to close this 12-cylinder Jaguar up on this V6 turbo, running first and second. 19 laps are now complete of 81. 186 miles the distance here at Columbus, Ohio.
Brundle really is brilliant. And one of the things is he is so smooth. You're not aware he's going that quickly until you start watching where he is relative to the Nissans or watch a stopwatch. He is just beautiful in any type of car he drives.
Bill, I'd point out to you, too, that in this last several laps where there has been so much heavy traffic as they've tried to weave their way, needle their way around these slower Camel-like cars, he backed off in that pursuit of his on number 84. Just stayed there and waited. Now he has some open track, and let's see if he can close in again. He wasn't going to do something to cost him the car.
Well, what can sometimes happen also is that when you are passing this slower traffic, the traffic may look in the mirror, see a fast car coming and move out of the way. And when that one car goes by, it moves back over again. It doesn't, the slow car does not always assume there is a train of cars coming through because they may only have seen one in their mirror.
Bulletin for Winston Cup stock car fans. North Wilkesboro canceled for today. And the green flag will drop at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Again, North Wilkesboro has been canceled. The Winston Cup competition there has been canceled and will be run tomorrow commencing 11 a.m. They don't have much time before they load up and go to Charlotte, North Carolina. Qualify there Wednesday for the pole position. It'll be a tough week on those Winston Cup stars. Bill Elliott. He's about as relentless in his efforts this year as Jeff Brabham is in IMSA prototype racing. Here with car number 67, Bob Wallach running in the 5th position here.
And you can see Wallach is so good. Look at this, as little movement of that steering wheel as he can get away with. He's feeding almost 700 horsepower to this car, trying to get it down as smoothly as he can. Turns in there, instant reaction. Watch how the bumps take a toll on your wrist and shoulders here. When you turn in the corner, watch his hands. Just little tiny jabs at him. At the end of an hour, a 2-hour-long race, you are really sore from all that. It really beats you up. You've got front tires that are 12 or 14 inches wide, and you don't have the benefit of power steering, unfortunately.
Once again, clearing the Town Street Bridge.
Look at that, real right.
Car.
Geez, terrible bump right there.
Putting down how much horsepower here?
This car is probably close to 700 or maybe even slightly over.
2,100-pound car.
That's the 67 vehicular portion. It's the turbocharged. I think it's less than 3-liter. And they had a little bit of a bang in the warm-up this morning, but it really doesn't seem to have hurt the car at all.
It's interesting that Circle Track Magazine's cover currently on the newsstands talks about the stock cars of tomorrow. And they are identical in looks to these cars that you see right here now. You'd think they were IMSA prototypes. Junior Johnson says that's what they're going to be racing in the year 2020.
Well, I would not mind driving one of these cars down the street any day at all. Just rocketing down the street.
How about racing on a 2.5 mile like Daytona or Talladega?
Thank you. I would love to.
Again, Brundle, number 66, is closing as we're back with the leaders.
Okay, you can watch the strength of the Jaguar. This has just been a superb car under braking. Very, very strong. Able to get very close to the corner. And look at this. He gets right up, tries to fill up the mirrors of Derek Daly. Tries to distract Derek just that little bit and make him maybe lose that tiny little bit of concentration, lose that last fine edge where he can sneak by. That's what Mark would like to do right now, is break up that Nissan wedge.
Working the 21st lap of 81 right now in Columbus.
Something, too, that Martin wants to do. The Nissan, because of running a turbocharged engine, uses up more fuel than the Jaguar. Even though the Jaguar has the bigger 6-liter engine, it is more fuel efficient, uses gasoline better. The Nissans have had a problem with fuel all year long, and they do use more gas. And for this race, they didn't know 1 or 2 stops.
Gentlemen, while we're watching the Jaguar, you may be watching another development coming into play here in the Camel GT. Notice that this Jaguar does not have those rear wheel fenders that cover up the wheels. The reason is they're running Dunlop tires, experimental radials on that 60 car. And radial tires require more camber, which means as you look at the car, the rear wheels angle out from top to bottom. So they couldn't fit the fender skirts on that car. The other car, number 66, McGrundle, does have the old bias ply tires. The crew has taken a real hard look at radial tires for 1989, looking for some improvement.
Well, here you see the 60 car from Jaguar ranks. John Lammers. They're the leaders, and there is that 66 that Bob was referring to.
Now look at the back of the car. See how the paint stripes are unaffected. They have right all the way through. 16 cars in the pit. Let's go down to Bob Barsha.
Well, Scott Pruitt has just pulled in the number 16 Dyson racing machine. They did have 2 cars in this event in order to give Bryce Cobb his best opportunity to get back into that championship fight. But as you can see, the engine cover is coming off the back. Crew chief Pat Smith and the crew are going to have a look in there. It looks like maybe the turbocharger is smoking very, very menacingly. And so they've got a serious problem now because that thing is about 4,000 degrees hot on the inside. They're going to have to be very, very ginger with that car as they try to get it fixed. They drafted Pruitt onto this team, as I mentioned, in order to get another fast guy into the team. The 18 car is also out there. Whichever car is doing better, and obviously right now 18 would be the one Bryce Cobb will then get into later on, hoping to move up from 3rd place in the points.
Bob, one thing we can add to that story, you know, this is an audition day for Scott Pruitt. He really wants to put on a show because he and Jeff Brabham are the 2 big names being talked about to replace Bobby Rahal at True Sports. And the head of True Sports, Steve Horn, is in attendance. Saw him here today. He would not confirm why he was here, but we all know he's taking a final look because there is word that the announcement could come as early as this week as to who will replace Bobby Rahal in the Budweiser True Sports car.
Steve Horn stood behind the pits and watched Scott Pruitt. Spent a lot of time talking to Jeff Brabham as well in the last 2 days. More in a moment.
From the people who taught you to expect a lot of car for the money, well, here comes another lesson. Before you buy a car, test drive a Fox at your local Volkswagen dealer.
"23 laps are complete as Jeff Brabham continues to lead in our live coverage of the Columbus 500. The streets of Columbus, Ohio, 2.3-mile course, 81 laps the distance, 180-plus miles, and it is Nissan first and second. Brabham, and followed right in his trail is car number 84, Derek Daly, and we're watching the number, and there's trouble on a Jaguar, and it is big, serious. That is the 3rd place car.
That's, yes, it is Brundle.
Martin Brundle has caught a wall in car number 16 and collapsed the nose of that 12-cylinder Jag, all torn up. Limping back toward the pits, visibility gone. It looks like he may have suffered some structural damage.
Well, he's going to try and drag it back in. The unfortunate part is he is most of the lap to go. He is just onto the main straight right now.
And leaking fluid.
Yes. Very, very dangerous.
3rd place car, number 66. And this car was also in the incident. One of the Hessert-Loring team cars. Camelite. Take a look. We have part of it we can show you from this 9-turn, 2.3-mile course. In replay, here's part of what happened.
Look how close that number 60 car is. It almost took both Jaguars out. And look at the water and oil coming out. Or that's probably just water. But just terrible.
Moretti and Phillips in the 962 right behind them as well. 66 limping around the course, trying to get back, and it's a long way around. It's a good 1.5 to 2 miles to get back to the pit area for this car that is really thrashed.
Now, this will not do the engine any good at all. He is coming back with most of the water, if not all of it, gone. And those are aluminum engine V12s.
Lammers now takes over in 3rd. The number 67 goes into 4th. Klaus Ludwig moves into 5th in the number 85, and David Hobbs comes into 6th in that new Peerless Corvette. safety car is coming on the track, as we understand. For the car that is impaled on the wall. Still trying to get this number 66 all the way back to the garage area is Martin Brundle to the pit area.
Now, a problem Martin's going to have right down there where we're looking.
He's into the pits.
They have to make a U-turn at that point, literally a 180-degree corner. And watch, he may have trouble. There he is, trying to spin the car around, pushing the clutch and revving it up and dumping the clutch to just do a little bootleg turnaround there.
Here's Marty Reed.
Well, a $10,000 nose section has been demolished, and obviously the crew with the motor shut off. He overshot the pit mark just a little bit. They're going to have to pull him back. There are fluids leaking out from underneath, a lot of hissing. Sounds like they could have gotten the cooling system. This is definitely going to be a lot longer stop than they had hoped for. The crew just looking a little bit dismayed at this point.
Well, stripping away some of the parts broken on car number 66. Marty Reed standing by for the later developments on this machine. Lammers in the number 60 Jag carries the entire weight on his shoulders now for Team Jaguar. It started so brilliantly in Daytona back in February, and there's the second car involved from the Hessert-Loring stable. There you see it just at the entrance as it was pulling onto the Town Street Bridge is where it came to naught.
That's right. That is where the Hessert car is. The Jag actually hit the wall on the far end of the bridge, I believe. Makes me wonder if someone didn't lay out some oil.
Full course caution, second one of the day here at Columbus in our live coverage of the Columbus 500. Stay tuned for more.
The Clydesdales, the symbol of Budweiser quality, of Beechwood aging, the choicest natural ingredients, and a genuine commitment to freshness and taste. One beer lives up to all this. Budweiser.
You can ride with the wind when you're one with the road. You can feel every move. You're in control.
Back live in Columbus, Ohio, where Jaguars' Martin Brundle is sitting on the pit wall after bringing the terminally broken number 66 Jaguar to the pits. Martin, what happened?
Came across the yellow back marker, the Dunlop car, I think, and clearly didn't see us coming up behind him. I mean, to the situation I was in the race, if we were going to stay in touch with the Nissans, I was going to have to, you know, keep on their tails for sure and make them work their brakes, and they were for sure as what was happening. Particularly Daly's rear tyres were going off. This will give him a chance to get them back again. He's driving harder than Brabham is to do the same job, but he's fending me off from Brabham. So clearly I was going to have to stay on their tail and wait for a situation that would enable me to make up ground when they got stuck in back markers. Unfortunately, I got knocked to the outside of the hairpin on the previous lap. In fact, it was on the same lap. And lost some time going wide. So I lost touch with the Nissans, and only by 3 or 4 seconds or something. And then passing the Dunlop car over the river there, just turned in, had absolutely nowhere to go, took me straight in the wall. The car survived it amazingly well because I went head first straight into it, but it's tweaked the suspension, obviously the radiator. It looks disastrous because the nose cone's all off, but that's like a 2-minute job to replace. The problem is the radiator.
A tough break, sad end to a great day for Martin Brundle.
More of the Jaguar story is developing as to where does John Nielsen now take his driving for today. Here's Marty Reed.
Well, John Nielsen will be looking to take over for Jan Lammers. The question is, what kind of shape is that car in right now?
Well, that's still running pretty good, so we hope I'll get into that and see if I get some points. The other one is finished. It damaged the radiator, and they couldn't repair it in time.
We're under yellow right now. Any shout of them bringing him in a little early, getting you in the car now?
No, because nobody's actually going in. The yellow is too early. There's no window, so they will stay out and do the normal pit stop around 42 or 44 laps, something like that.
So Nielsen will be waiting for Lammers to come in to take over.
Thank you, Marty. Bill Jackson. That's that aqua-colored Buick Tiger. Bill Jacobson is the driver who is, as we take a look at the entire field now for you, that is having to get some assistance to get off that tire wall. Jacobson's car in trouble, the 9L, and the 19 continues running in Camel Light, but the 9 was the car that got thrashed. We had it as running 4th position when that incident took place. So a major car in the prototype category and one of the Camel Lights, both victims of this incident just at the entrance onto the Town Street Bridge here in Columbus, Ohio.
Something we can watch when we get back underway. The car that's currently shown being in 5th place, the Klaus Ludwig Bayside Racing Porsche, started off in 12th, and Klaus Ludwig is probably the finest street racer in the world, particularly in Porsches. I don't think there is anyone to touch him. He is just simply brilliant. Here he is. He's about 7th position.
What makes a street fighter?
Precision, obviously more so than any other track. They have to drive as quickly as they possibly can, lap after lap after lap. So consistency and precision. And Klaus Ludwig is better than anyone else.
26 laps complete. You're in the B.F. Goodrich car, running 4th, Columbus, Ohio, as we prepare for a restart this time. They'll get that restart just after they make the hairspin turn. Let's take a look from car 63, Jim Downing's car. He is leading in Camel Light. They get ready to go.
You can see
right down in front of us here.
Downing also uses a little NASCAR trick there. He's got that center bar right up the windshield, just added support.
He's from Georgia, you know. He knows all those tricks.
That's true.
Jim Downing, a guy who really has fostered the Camel Light competition, giving a lot of people a chance to go out and do some prototype racing and see if they really have a sense and a feel for these cars. Here they are at the Civic Center Drive area of the course.
This is good. Right now, these drivers could just take a little bit of a break and maybe flex their fingers a little bit if they've been holding on those wheels very tight. And this is very much appreciated.
By the Palace Theater, and now turning onto Front Street. Real run here in a hard-braking area at the end of Front Street in Columbus. Then they'll take a hard left onto Spring Street, then just stand on it, go onto that railroad bridge, which seemingly narrows down to the eye of a needle. From there along Spring Street to the tight hairpin, artificial part of the course, which starts out as negative camber, goes back to a little banking if you can make that right. Here they are coming up Spring Street. David Hobbs having a great afternoon, running well up in 6th spot. What is your game plan for today's race, David?
The game plan here, Kenley, is to finish the race and therefore sit on the podium in 1st place, spraying champagne all over the place, collecting lots of dough and a nice cup.
What did he say?
Green flag is out, and we're back underway another time. Bravo and Daly pulling away. Jaguar now with Lammers. He's trying to contain the Nissans from that step closer to a manufacturer's championship here in Columbus, Ohio. It's live again. The Holly Farms 400 North Wilkesboro rained out. Post time, 11 o'clock tomorrow on that 5/8 mile asphalt. In-car camera giving you some very dramatic pictures here.
Great time here. Oh, and the number 60 Jaguar, we just got a report, is heading into the pits. There he is, going into that tight turn. Again, he tries to spin the Jag. Oh, and he didn't make it. Had to back up. Oh, slammed the wall. Unbelievable. All that time under yellow. It's got to be a tire going down. No, there's something more than that. They're pulling the whole front clip off. It's jammed on there. They're trying to pull it back to get the springs loose. Marty.
Well, they're working on the car feverishly. This was a complete surprise. You noticed when we were talking to John Nielsen, he basically was in his street clothes still, not even close to getting ready to go out. Now they are getting the front nose piece to try and come off. There are all kind of problems with the duct tape that they've got sealing it to the main frame of the car. They're finally going to get that taken care of. They're going to put a new nose section on. They seem to be working with now one remaining electronic cable that reads the system, the electronic computer system, and they are looking at that left front tire, feverishly trying to get it down and get back into this race, but the Jaguars' chances have literally been put in the pits.
Well, you think that 84 car is in trouble. That is Daly slowing down in one of the Nissans. Car's been running second since the outset and set on the pole. 84 is off its feed, and look at the field just blow by.
I think now is that right rear tire going down. I can't get a look at it very clearly.
This all happening at lap 29.
It looks like, yeah, the right rear tire is flat. He's coming in for that. Other than that, he's going slowly enough. He shouldn't damage the suspension. But the right rear is flat for sure. And there's a car. That's the Blaufunk Porsche, the 962 at Dyson Racing up against the wall. Everything is happening at once. He's still running.
Trying to get righted. One of the 962s trying to get back into it.
That is an ultra-fast braking area. I would expect what has taken place in that opening lap at the drop of the green. There has been a lot of contact between cars. With the Jag coming in and the problem, the Nissan having the flat right rear, and the Dyson car having spun at the end of the straight. There's just been a lot of bumping and banging out there.
Well, that's the team that came out early and won at Miami and then won at San Antonio, also having trouble. And here comes that Nissan, number 84, gliding down onto pit road.
Now, again, for NASCAR fans, they have to come in very slowly. They do not have the strong suspensions that the stock cars have. Bob Barsha.
We are here, and it looks like the right front corner was the problem. The tire had gone down. There doesn't appear to be suspension damage. The right rear, I see now, is the problem. As they take off the tire, absolutely mangled. The front left wheel was up off the ground coming in, so I guess we should have known right rear was the problem. But other than that, it looks like 4 new skins all around and a full tank of gas will be all that Derek Daly needs. Keep in mind that there is perhaps a hidden benefit in this, in that Daly now has a full load of fuel and fresh rubber. He might be able to go a long, long time with the car set up as it is now.
Now, as I started to explain, for the NASCAR people, they can go fairly quickly on a blown tire because they are so solid. These suspensions, to get the cars lightweight, are a lot more fragile, and therefore, if you have a flat, you have to go very slowly around to the pits. Daly is, however, back up under speed now, and he doesn't look like there's any problems.
And the car that's come to second place is the B.F. Goodrich Porsche 962. Bob Wallach, the Frenchman, is up into the second position now and trying to close in.
And in third place, right behind Wallach, is Klaus Ludwig. Now, there's in car right behind him. Look at this.
He's trying to get by Derek Daly a lap down. Derek says, thank you, no.
No, this is going to be a great example of horsepower here. Let's watch the Nissan and watch the Porsche and see how they compare. One is the V6 turbo is directly ahead of us. We are in a flat 6 turbo. And it is pulling away. Definitely does have horsepower. Wallach is closing up a little under braking. Oh, a little smoke up the turbo there. Now we're entering the long straight. Here the Nissan is getting a chance to show that it's the equivalent of Ben Johnson. Lots of steroids underneath that guy.
Car number 63, Jim Downey's car has pitted. And look for that picture is how they bottom out. Full tank of fuel on board. Here they are in that tight hairpin where you can really make some ground.
Here we go again. Return. See, the Nissan puts down the power so well. It isn't just the horsepower. Obviously a very, very good engine, but it really gets the traction on the ground.
Car 83, Jeff Brabham continuing to lead here, and here is the second place car number 67, giving you these wonderful pictures from the B.F. Goodrich car, Bob Wallach.
Great view, and you can see that Wallach is closing up under braking. He is charging very hard right now, trying to push Daly as much as he can, hopefully to make Derek make a mistake. That's what he wants to do right now. But he's got to worry. Sitting in his mirrors right there is Klaus Ludwig. And Klaus is going to take a shot at him, I'm sure, if he has any chance at all. The acceleration of that car is really, there we have. There is second, third, and fourth right there.
Bill, as I heard a little earlier talking about steroids, you are a Canadian.
Yes. Well, I can't talk about that. Marty Reed.
Well, this is a bit of a surprise. We had talked to Pat Smith, the crew chief. He said everything was okay on the Pruitt machine, and then all of a sudden James Weaver comes in. They are making the driver's change. To give you an idea how surprised they were, Bryce Cobb was not even fully dressed. He was still putting on his gloves. So he is in the process of hooking up. They're putting a 4-tire change on the machine, and a big surprise for this entire pit crew, and all this coming under the green, and we are only at lap 30. The window for these cars to make it the distance is around lap 39 or 40.
So we're closing to on the 40-lap mark. We're showing now a total laps complete for the 81 to be run at 31. 9 to go, Marty, before we're up to that count. There you see the Dyson car getting back ready for competition.
You can see right here, this is so frustrating for these drivers. Unfortunately, on a street course like Columbus, there really is nothing else they can do. They have tried their best to get a good turning area for the prototype cars. Now, that's strange. Price is wiggling that car as if something isn't tight. I think he's wondering if he's got the wheel tight.
Back with the leader another time, and here is car 83, Bravo in front. The 84 car is 1 lap back. The 84 Derek Daly is 1 lap back. There you see him right behind number 83. car, Porsche 962, Bob Wallach, there he is, in second place. And there is a Porsche 962 with Klaus Ludwig, number 85, running third. And here's an interesting thing. Bruce Levin has had cars that have won here for the last 2 years, and here he is with the machine back to third place already with Ludwig. Bill Adam was pointing out to you earlier, he enjoys these kind of courses so much. The number 60 Jag is just leaving the pits and going back onto the track. He's dropped the lap. Bob Barsha?
Well, John Nielsen is back on the racetrack now on the Jaguar, but he's out there 10 seconds later than he otherwise would have been. IMSA penalized him 10 seconds because of the spin that Jan Lammers threw, getting the car into the pits.
Into the pits or on the...
I don't know. Bob, if you can still hear me, did IMSA penalize him for spinning in that pit road, trying to kick the back end of the car around?
Precisely. Absolutely. He spun the car around, got it right up next to the pit wall. Behind that wall were safety workers and crew members for other teams. IMSA said, that's going to cost you 10 seconds.
Yesterday, they were all trying to do that.
Yes.
In fact, finally, I was standing down there. Cyril Vandermerber came in 3 times, and Brabham is trying to get his lap, Daly is trying to get his lap back here.
Yeah, I would assume if Derek is running quicker than Brabham right now, Jeff will move over, because all Jeff wants, and there he does, precisely that. All Jeff wants to do is to run at a pre-planned pace. And if they can finish with that second Nissan in a supporting, a blocking back roll, it would be a perfect situation.
Well, it must be in the driver's meeting. They told him that was a no-no, because yesterday we watched the corner workers down here at the end of the pits on that tight horseshoe have a problem with Cyril Vandermerber. They rolled him back 2 or 3 times, and finally Cyril came in and threw it around there, and they gave him a standing ovation. Not the case today. It'll cost you 10 seconds. More from Columbus, Ohio, live in a moment.
It's America's fastest production car, the Callaway Corvette. To create a Callaway Corvette, the entire engine must be built by hand. Nearly 1,500 parts are redesigned or modified. What's one of the few parts that isn't redesigned or modified? A Champion Premium filter, which is already engineered to meet the most demanding specifications. Champion oil and air filters, the filter line with the highest standards in the world.
At participating Sears, Coast to Coast, Myers, Western Auto Stores, or call the Connection.
Bob Strange, PF Goodrich test engineer.
The trick to building great all-terrain tires is making them as good off-road as on. All-terrain TAs from PF Goodrich are tested in some of the roughest off-road situations in the world. I believe TA radials are the best performance tires in the world, and I torture them to keep them that way.
PF Goodrich TAs, tested tough to make your truck perform.
Quaker State congratulates Ricky Rudd and his Quaker State Buick for a thrilling bumper-to-bumper victory at Watkins Glen.
If you're like me, you want your engine to perform. You want it to run clean, and you don't want sludge. That's why you and I both need Quaker State with QSX. No other oil runs cleaner or fights sludge better. And the Quaker State I use in my car is the same oil you can buy right off the shelf for your car.
Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
It's time for a Quick Fact. Quick Facts are brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Bruce Levin has brought the latest edition of the Porsche 962 to Columbus this weekend. It's the car sitting in front of us, and there are some subtle differences between this car and the older one. As you can tell, just looking at the nose, you can see the different ducting along the front pieces. Also, as you go down the side of the car, you'll notice that there are some changes there. And the big difference is when you get to the rear section. Notice that the wing on the new car is now attached to the chassis, whereas in the old version of the 962 it was attached to the actual body panel part. But the key to this car over the other is the brand new twin turbo system. You'll notice the difference right off the bat is that the exhaust now comes out the side of the car instead of the top. And this power plant will give them about 650 horsepower, and Porsche is pinning this motor for its hopes to beat the Nissans.
Thank you, Marty. 34 laps are complete as car number 83, Brabham, stays in front. The story, for the most part, about the championship is right on pit road. Down there you see car number 18. That is the Price Cobb machine. It's been in for some time, and as it stays in there, you can pretty much count Price Cobb out of the championship battle for drivers this year. And the same can be said for Nielsen for Jaguar. He was running second to Brabham coming into this race today, but they've had their problems in both cases, and it looks like Jeff Brabham will take the drivers' championship when the afternoon is over.
Well, it certainly does appear that way. And we've got to also bring up that other problem, that's the weather that exists further out on the East Coast. At the North Wilkesboro race, the Holly Farms 400, will be shown at 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Rain today in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Heavy week coming up for Winston.
Aren't you glad I'm here with you? My wife always says that I bring the good weather with me.
You certainly did, because that was not the prediction yesterday for the weather here, which has turned out beautifully in Columbus. Now let's take a look at Camel Lights. And in that category, car number 55, Dan Marvin out of Berkeley, California. And the AC Delco Pontiac is having a marvelous day.
Yeah, these fellas have had a marvelous bunch of races in a row now. It's the Huffaker Racing Team from Sears Point, California. I was corrected on that. I once said they're from Petaluma. They are not. From Sears Point, right at the racetrack. Joe Huffaker has a very, very good garage that obviously has done a wonderful job of preparing this car. And Dan seems to be so well suited to it. Whether it's a fast track or a street track, he is really driving flawlessly.
And here's a nice fact. Colin Truman, son of Jim Truman, is driving second now in Camel Light in the Morgan car number 01. Colin Truman, having a dandy race, is up to second place. Sister Michelle is here watching, and I'm sure the Truman family is delighted with the performance he's putting on as he tries to chase down this man, number 55, Marvin, continuing to lead for Pontiac. Pontiac Firebirds running 1, 2, 3 because Costas Los is back in the third position. There they are under that railroad bridge, and you really get a sense about how narrow that rascal is from that particular vantage point.
Well, it really gets narrow, too, at 150 and 160 miles an hour. You're threading the needle. There's a great interval. That's the 01 car, the second-place machine back there. And Dyson Racing, the 962, just coming up the inside to outbreak him.
Colin Truman looking good. Costas Lowe's third, and the number 9 of Essex Racing with David Loring at the controls is currently being showing fourth. And then running in fifth is Howard Katz. That's the Mazda out of the Downing Racing stable, number 70 in fifth. Scott Schubot is maintaining sixth in Camel Light as we look a little further back in the field. From the Camel Light in car, look at the streets of Columbus here today.
The Jim Downing Mazda.
And aren't you impressed with how well Columbus has put this race together? They've had some tough manhole covers. There have been some slight difficulties here, but generally, so well executed and so well done.
It's so true. Alan Wilson, the man who puts this race on, just tries to do everything possible. And they do not have a perfect facility. He is the first one to admit it, but he keeps trying. And every single thing he hears about is wrong, he tries to correct. We really appreciate the hospitality up here.
And I'll tell you another thing. The corner workers here have been outstanding in the last 2 days. I think they're the same folks that work Mid-Ohio. They really know their task and do it well. Somebody ought to do a story about those people, because all those signals and hand signals and the various tasks which they perform on each corner to keep these cars running and not overrunning and going over the top of each other. Street course like this, it's tough work. This is as good as it gets.
They are.
Let's go back to the leaders again and take a look at the prototype leader, number 83, Jeff Brabham. What a magnificent season for him. 8 wins right in a row, just clipping them off before he came to San Antonio. 37 laps are now complete. And for Don Devendorf, who people kind of laughed about, gave the Dr. Strangelove title for a few years, working away by himself on those cars. He and Kaz Kastner and all those people have put together a team that is as formidable as anything in Europe these days in that C2 competition. Would you like to see that team go to Le Mans? I'd love to see this 83 car
I would
take
as
on
well.
the Europeans. I think he's thrashing.
You know, we just saw a few moments ago the new Bayside 962, the Bruce Levin car, and that is the car that is dominant in Europe. It's identical to the Bruni car I drove at Le Mans last year. Really a wonderful car that kills the competition. And then we look at how far off the pace it is here with the Nissan. It does make you want to see this car.
There you see the second place car going by. And now we're getting a look at the third place car. There's the 85. So you have first, second, and third there, and an idea about where they are positioned for those top 3 positions. And there you see the brilliant Klaus Ludwig.
Well, that's
here wanting to make this run. And they thought he was going to drive the big car. Excuse me, Bill. They thought he was going to drive the brand new car. But he felt more comfortable in this one. And look at the job he's doing.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb at this point. And I said earlier, I didn't think the Nissan was going to win today.
And I disagree.
I still think you're going to see this car do it.
I'll tell you what, Adam.
You might not tell me now.
Listen now, over at Lime Rock, and that Lime Rock is as tough a track on a car as this is. And that Nissan just devoured that track that day. Remember? And the Jaguar, they got that confrontation, ran him off in the grass, and they fought their way back through. Well, that Lime Rock is as tough a course as this on a car. It's got old asphalt. It weathers hard up there in Connecticut. I think the Nissan's going to last the day. So let's see, for what? A hamburger when it's over?
I don't know if I can afford that from what you pay me, kid.
There's your third place man. Once again, Klaus Ludwig. Running fourth is the car number 76 being driven by David Hobbs in the premier performance for the new Peerless Corvette. Here's your leader, number 83. Brabham just doesn't do something.
I was just going to say, Mr. Smooth. He does nothing wrong. It's almost a boring performance. He is so perfect in this car. He gets in very, very close to corners before he jumps on the brakes. And you watch the car. It never gets sideways either under braking or acceleration.
We talked to Jeff Brabham about this car and if the Nissan was fragile for a street course like this.
Well, I don't think so. Let's face it, we had problems in all different types of racetracks last year, but this year the reliability of the race car has been extremely good. And if you take these type of racetracks, we were on the pole at Miami, and we led fairly easily till we had a brake problem, but the car ran reliably for the whole race. West Palm Beach we won, which is a 3-hour street race. Then at San Antonio, the car was extremely good throughout the weekend, and we broke a drive shaft 2.5 hours into the race, and that was something that was found to be suspect in regards to the heat treat of that particular part. So, I've got a lot of confidence in the car right now, and I don't think this track's going to be, particularly hard on it as compared to some others, especially as it's a shorter race.
See, Adam, Brabham agrees with me. Well, car number 52 is in the pits, the second Hendrick car on pit road. Here's Bob Barsham.
Cyril van der Merwe was not able to make that swing at the end of the pit, so he just popped that sucker into reverse, spun the wheels, got it backwards. Safety workers ran everywhere, got it into the pits. Elliott Forbes Robinson, the pride of Denver, North Carolina, has taken over in Rick Hendrick's car. He is down the road. No penalty, I guess, for spinning it in reverse.
All right, Elliott. They were running in 10th position. Well, let's see. Maybe there's a penalty. No, there's no penalty. Just told him to get some traffic through. And then he dives out onto Washington Boulevard. Run it up through the gears, then make a hard left over the Town Street Bridge. If you've been in Columbus, Ohio, down by the Civic Center Drive, that's where Elliott Forbes Robinson, great journeyman driver, pretty good stock car driver,
yeah,
great Trans Am champion.
Awfully versatile driver, very good in it. Can you imagine if this race was taking place in North Carolina and they tried to penalize a Chevrolet?
I wouldn't give anything to have these cars back in North Carolina just once a year.
Well, it may happen.
They ran at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and it was an outstanding program.
Always like that.
And, of course, that was when we saw that Nissan of Don Devendorf, then a black-painted car, just overrun its tires and crash into the wall and set them back almost a year.
Yep.
And then they changed everything, including the color. They dropped the black. They went to red, white, and blue colors, and they became almost, as they say, like the United States, just a hodgepodge of parts from everywhere, and reworked that team, and they've come up with such a great combination. And there's the Hendrick number 52, still shown as 10, Elliott Forbes Robinson.
Black is certainly working for Dale Earnhardt, and viewers out there will get a chance to watch Dale at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Don't forget that Holly Farms 400 will be shown 11 tomorrow.
And all of his favorites. Bill Elliott will be there, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Bodine. Don't miss it. That's a tough track, too. Phoenix Daly's Great North Wilkesboro Speedway, the Holly Farms 400, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. See it here on the world leader for motorsports coverage, ESPN. Here today, live at Columbus, Ohio, Jeff Brabham just maybe wrapping up the Drivers' Championship for 1988.
Yeah, Mary, John, please. Okay, I'll hold.
Have you ever noticed that the people with the least time to waste always find time to read the Wall Street Journal? Perhaps it's because reading the journal had a lot to do with making them so busy in the first place.
Hey, buddy, how'd you make out? I did great.
Call 800-228-3800 for this great journal subscription offer. 13 weeks for just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.75. Phone 800-228-3800 now for the Wall Street Journal.
ESPN is your ringside seat when Rockin' Robin Blake takes on Victor Davis in a junior welterweight battle. Budweiser presents Top Rank Boxing, Tuesday night at 9 Eastern, live on ESPN.
In auto racing, the big Q stands for quality. In Quaker State's 11,000 RPM Porsche-powered Indy car. In Ricky Rudd's 625 horsepower high-torque V8. These great racing engines demand the great name in motor oil. Quaker State with QSX, proven to run clean for unbeatable protection from wear and tear.
And the Quaker State that protects all these engines on the track is the same oil you buy right off the shelf.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Now here at Columbus, Ohio, it's time for Volkswagen to present the mid-race report. German-engineered Volkswagens, and your Volkswagen dealers give you this glimpse of what's happened through the first portion of the race. Leader, pretty much all the way at an average speed of 80 miles per hour, Jeff Brabham. After the pole was taken by his co-driver in the second car, Derek Daly. We've only had a couple of caution periods here in a street race of this nature with as many cars as started, 36. They have 31 still remaining. It's a pretty incredible number. 11 cars on the lead lap. Those are the folks who have retired from the event. Bruce Levin, early victim right at the outset. Bobby Rahal had trouble with one of the Hendrick cars. Martin Brundle's Jaguar, a major story falling out of this one today. Not a very high attrition rate thus far in this race, Bill Adam. Just goes to prove Lime Rock is a much tougher track than this one.
I thought that was coming. I think, unfortunately, you might see the attrition rate go up because just this rough nature of one particular corner under hard acceleration, and they're getting that little bump, trying to lay down the 700-plus horsepower every single time.
But you know what I like about this? You hear all that grumbling and grunting that goes on in Formula One about the courses and so forth. But if you build the kind of cars like Formula One or these, they're supposed to be able to run on any kind of track, run over railroad track, run in the streets. And these cars, they take the pounding. That's what they're supposed to do. Now, there's the Panasonic number 63 carrying one of our onboard cameras. The Downing car, which is now 7th back in that series. Remember, they had trouble a bit earlier.
Yeah, boy, Jeff's taking a little bit of a risky move there, but he made it through. You can see even when he does that, he is so tentative. He's still giving himself plenty of time to drop back.
And he knew who was there. And that was the Hotchkiss Adams car, and they're very trustworthy and very dependable, and they really look out.
All the people named Adams are extremely trustworthy and dependable.
AMDANS or anyway, from the Panasonic car, getting another view of this incredible 2.3-mile course laid out through the streets of Columbus, Ohio, where the championship for the drivers of the International Motorsports Association may be decided today in favor of Jeff Brabham.
Oh, and number 83 we got a report is in the pits. There he is.
Tire change, right side. Here's Bob.
Jeff Brabham's Nissan looks pristine. There's not a mark on it as he pulls in. Jeff looking very businesslike behind the wheel, keeping the engine revved. Looks like it's going to be a 4-tire stop, 1 fuel load, and that should be all that Jeff Brabham needs to go the distance. Let me update the other car. The 84 car will need another pit stop. Derek Daly, that is. So now we'll watch as Jeff Brabham makes the big turn. Remember, you can't spin the wheels. That's a no-no. 24-second pit stop is world class for Team Nissan.
And a typical perfect performance at the end of the pits as well. Jeff ran around there, no trouble at all. Just judged the distances perfectly and didn't have to back up.
The man who's been on the pole for the last 2 years here at Columbus, Ohio. Just as meticulous about his pit stop as he is about every one of the 9 turns and all those hundreds of manhole covers which he meanders over, manipulating around. And in car now is the lead car. That's the B.F. Goodrich car. And Frenchman Bob Woolek finds himself out in front with a Porsche 962. How about that?
Got that thing moving. Bob is a great street driver. He's a very precise type of driver, much the same as Klaus Ludwig is. And a fiery driver. He loves to get the bit between his teeth and really go for it.
We know how fiery he is from Daytona. We had a few comments about A.J. Foyt. This is the first time that Woolek has led a race since Daytona earlier this year. Look at him using up that course. And he's pitting. He is coming in.
A great view. You can see just what he's looking at as he comes in. Down to Marty Reed.
Well, so far, the Nissan team's the only one that's had what we would call a normal pit stop, as the action down here has been fast and furious. Now, this is going to be a 4-tire change, and the change being made as far as the drivers are concerned. Mauro Baldi getting in, Bob Woolek helping with the assist as far as hooking up all the connectors with the belts and also to the communication system. So far, no one has gotten onto the windscreen. There goes the action there as they got some debris on the top of the screen. All 4 tires are down. They're waiting for Baldi to give the signal that he's ready to go. They look to be having some trouble getting the belts cinched up tightly, as the cockpit is the last thing taken care of, and he finally pulls away. 39.7 seconds. You could see the difference.
Yeah, Marty, it's Jim Busby's car taking a lengthy spell on pit road. And here's the number 85, was also in at that time. Back out.
And here's a good point of difference. Just look at this. The 85 car came back out without making a driver change, and look at the amount of time he picked up.
Bruce Levin's car, Klaus Ludwig driving.
Gentlemen, I can add to what Bill Adam was just saying about length of pit stops. You watch the B.F. Goodrich car in the pits and make its 30-plus second stop. While that car was sitting motionless, the number 85 Bayside machine with Klaus Ludwig at the controls came in, made the stop, took on 4 tires, full load of fuel, and he was down and moving before BFG.
That's the story when you can get in and get out, and you can stay with one driver. 45 of the laps are now complete here today. 45 of the 81 will make it official, and we can take a look at the interval now.
There he is right there. And remember, when the 67 committed the pits, he was leading. The Bayside car was behind him. And just look at that. One little slip in the pits, making a driver change, makes all the difference in the world.
And there is a new leader in the event.
Not David.
From Priors Hardwick, England, 49-year-old David Hobbs.
Is that how old he says he is?
That's what he claims. He's been hanging since he was 49.
Do you realize what we'll have to listen to if he wins this race?
David Hobbs, colleague in telecasts over the years, and a fine race driver. I always felt badly that he wanted to win and still wants to win Le Mans so badly. And he goes there year after year and seems to be star-crossed. He does a lot of testing, a lot of great work for many, many teams. And then years go by and they develop into something. David has moved on. Here he is with a brand new car today. This is the Peerless Corvette number 76 that is leading this race. You're looking at number 67. That's the B.F. Goodrich car. And that is being shown back in 5th place at the present time with Monaco's Mauro Baldi now at the keyboard. Here is the new leader of the event. David Hobbs is in first place. How about that, David?
Great. This is identical to the Hendricks Corvettes, the silver and black, the LA Raider Corvettes, except it has a Canadian motor. Performance engineering, no Canadian firm that used to build engines in my Corvettes back when I ran Trans Am.
Jim, they're telling me that the chassis is considerably different too. Yeah, it might have started out with a little of a Lola background, but it's far different. Brad Francis was telling me the other day, he said, the crew chief on this car, he said, this thing is a legitimate hot rod. Well, there is the car number 76 out in front. David Hobbs in the lead, and look who's coming into the picture. Car number 83 is back there about 3 seconds.
And maybe that's why he's storming.
Not even going to be a contest now. No. The lead will be reappropriated by Brabham as David Hobbs comes in, and I think he may go the entire distance. Jack Baldwin is standing by, the GTO champion of IMSA a year ago out of Marietta, Georgia. And why somebody hasn't given Jack Baldwin a ride in Winston Cup or Grand Nationals beyond me. That guy is incredible. Now here's David Hobbs in.
And Baldwin is going in. That's him getting ready right there. Very much surprised. Maybe David has a bit of a heat problem. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Well, guys, we're down here, and the change is being made. Jack Baldwin is going in. David Hobbs coming out. The amazing thing about this, comparing the two Corvettes, the other one was Cyril Vandenberve, is going to have to make another stop. They came in at lap 37, which is well before the halfway mark. And look how far that Hobbs has been able to pull this brand new Corvette through the first half of this race. So they'll be able to go the distance, and now Jack Baldwin, it's all up to him. Tires are down, and they're ready to go.
Jack Baldwin was telling me, he said, it's such an experience. He said, you hear Hobbs and all of his gentle jokes and all of his fun, but he said, he is incredible as a teacher. He said, I have learned so much with him in just a matter of a few days. And he said, it'd be all right with me if he took the car all the time, just because I learn every time he goes out. And he said, you know, I plan to be around a while. Indeed, they're going to have this prototype really strong in 1989 in IMSA competition. Jack Baldwin, Marietta, Georgia, now takes over car number 76. It falls back to 7th position. 8 cars are reported in the lead lap for prototypes here in Columbus, Ohio, with our live coverage. Great race.
We used to sell a Volkswagen for people with more sense than money. We still do. Before you buy a car, test drive a Volkswagen Fox at your local Volkswagen dealer.
Bob Strange, B.F. Goodrich test engineer.
The trick to building great all-terrain tires is making them as good off-road as on. All-terrain TAs from B.F. Goodrich are tested in some of the roughest off-road situations in the world. I believe TA radials are the best performance tires in the world, and I torture them to keep them that way.
B.F. Goodrich TAs, tested tough to make your truck perform.
The Columbus 500 live on ESPN is being presented today by Budweiser. Beechwood aids for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Dodge, cars and trucks built with a new spirit of driving performance. Well, there you see one of the lovely views that Columbus, Ohio offers. And they have great racing here in the streets. This is the 4th year that they've had this Grand Prix competition for the International Motorsports Association. The city has really turned itself out. A great community, a lot of spirit here. It reminds me a great deal of coming to Long Beach in its first days, back when it was a Formula 5000 race, won by some gentleman named Brian Redmond. And David Hobbs that day finished, I believe, 2nd or 3rd. Anyway, it's that same attitude. A lot of folks care about having events, world-class events. Here we have 8 nations racing around this 2.3-mile, 9-turn road course, and putting Columbus on the road racing map for a lovely afternoon.
Well, I understand that we're going to have some of those interesting comments from David Hobbs because we've got Marty Reed with him right now.
We certainly do, guys. I got to tell you, broadcasting partner Ken Squire says that was the ride of your life as far as he was concerned. How'd you feel about it?
Well, I must say I was pretty pleased with myself. As you know, I've got a car dealership here in Columbus, and I've always wanted to do well in front of a home crowd. And to actually take the lead just prior to our pit stop was pretty satisfying. The car ran very, very strongly all day. The Peerless team have done an excellent job in preparing this car. It's a slightly old chassis, you know, the Lola chassis, but they've done a lot of work to it. And boy, it went very, very well today. But just not quite up with the Jags yet, but I mean, this is their 14th race now, first.
I was stunned at the number of laps you were able to run before you had to make the stop. I mean, Vandenberve was in at lap 37. You made it to, what, 42?
Well, the Hendricks Corvette has always had a problem with fuel consumption since I drove it here in '85. And our guys, the engine guys, have done their homework really, really well, and we got very good mileage all through practice and in the race as well.
Well, no matter what happens to that car from here on out, nobody can say that you didn't do your best in it today.
I did my best, and of course, unfortunately, with me being here, no doubt the broadcast from Spain this week would be somewhat of a debacle, but of course the network's got to take the rough with the smooth.
Ken?
Oh, The one thing about it is he is consistent.
Yes, he is.
49 laps are complete. Havo, nice run. Of course, he had a pretty good Le Mans this year, too, with a 5th place finish. We see a full course caution being shown for the 3rd time today. As to the reason, we have a car in the wall, and our spotter is reporting we're not sure where. It may be on the Town Street Bridge, and there is debris on the track. Debris on the track at Town Street, and they could not get a corner worker out there without putting them in a precarious position, so they put out a full course caution, rightfully so. 6 cars have retired, 3rd caution of the day, and car number 84 is back in the pits. Let's go to Bob.
Well, we mentioned earlier that Derek Daly was going to need another pit stop, and it's purely for fuel. No tires going on this time. He got out there. As soon as that yellow flag came out, he was in the pits. Now he's all topped up, and he'll be able to go the rest of the distance.
So the standings, as we sort them out here a bit, Jeff Brabham stays in front, and Klaus Ludwig in the 85 finds himself in 2nd. Is that correct? With Bob Wallach's car. Now in 3rd, Mauro Baldi, the driver. And 4th is Halsmer. And there is a car. There is the other reason for a caution to come out. There is a car in trouble. Looks like one of the Camel Light Pontiacs.
Looks like the 01
Costas Los, or it could be Marvin.
It could be the 07 car.
That would be Costas Los car, which had been running 5th in that Camel Light class. Let's show you where it is on this 2.3-mile course, if we might, for just a moment. There where the little red X is over on the side of your screen is where we've come to not. Kind of a strange shaped track we have here at Columbus, isn't it?
You know, that little X, that's the spot that I keep referring to with the bump right in the middle of the corner. Very, very difficult because it bangs the car so hard. These cars all have such extremely tight suspensions. They don't have a lot of suspension travel because they're all ground effect cars with the tunnels and below. Oh, and they've got it mobile. That's a very good sign. So maybe it was just a mechanical failure, and he happened to coast to a stop there.
5-man power. They pulled it off the Town Street Bridge. That's where they come over the bridge and make that left-hander onto the Civic Center Drive. That's where the caution is out, indicated on the map. And we'll be back with you in a moment as we come live from Columbus, Ohio, with a Columbus 500. Brabham on his way to the Drivers' Championship.
Ride with the wind when you're one with the road. You can feel every move. You're in control. Just a touch of the wheel and the power is yours. It's the look and the feel, the one that's for real. It's the new spirit. Gotta be the spirit of God. It's the new spirit.
You'll find it at the heart of every car and truck we build. And you'll find it in yourself every time you take the wheel. It's the new spirit of performance. It's the new spirit of Dodge.
It's the new spirit. The new spirit of Dodge. The new spirit of Dodge.
The Holly Farms 400 from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway was postponed on Sunday afternoon. It rained almost all night. It continued to rain during the early portions of the morning. It did, however, stop for a while, and there was hope that the race could be gotten in, but it started to rain again, and it was postponed. We will be on the air live tomorrow morning, Monday morning, at 11 o'clock Eastern Time for live coverage of the Holly Farms 400. We hope you'll be with us.
Motor Week Illustrated keeps track of auto racing from around the world. Every week, host Dave Despain presents highlights of the week's top Formula One, kart, NASCAR, IMSA, motorcycle, boat racing, and airplane events, plus profiles of the men behind the wheel. It's Motorsports news and previews of the top upcoming weekend events. Motor Week Illustrated, Wednesdays at 9:30 Pacific, Thursdays, 12:30 a.m. Thursday, Eastern. Got a good crowd out here today. I mean, a remarkable crowd. This morning I was kind of wondering how they were going to pay the bill. Well, folks have rolled in here, and as you look across the bridge that we're located at, which is the Broad Street Bridge, it's packed.
It is jammed.
And they're watching Brabham, Jeff Brabham, and car number 83 continue to stay out in front of the Porsche 962.
Klaus Ludwig.
There's a comfortable seat over there. Hi there. Yes,
right.
we do have people
a living
everywhere.
statue here in Columbus.
How on earth did they get up there now?
How on earth did they get down to earth is the question.
Getting down's the easy part. It's just the landing.
Yeah, there's a song for that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, there's the Levesque Lincoln building. Take a look at this grand old monster, 60 years old.
Can't you just picture King Kong going up the side of that thing?
Didn't he last year?
He might today. We don't know.
Columbus, Ohio. Home of Ohio State. Home of the International Motorsports Association. Next to the last race of 1988. They move on to Del Mar, California from here. And this is show and tell time for the championship. Yearly car number 67. Mauro Baldi of Monaco at the controls in third place. Klaus Ludwig is in second place with a Porsche 962. Nissans are first and fourth. Brabham up on top. Derek Daly back and forth. Pete Halsmer's Ford Pro. Give a call to Pete Halsmer in the Ford Pro. That car is always having problems, and Halsmer is always hauling it along, getting it up through the standings.
Yeah.
Great driver.
Pete really is, and one of the nicest people in racing, too. In fact, I gave a call to Pete once to have a game of tennis with him, and he beat me so badly I'll never call him again. Beautiful city. This is a nice street circuit, so different than the other ones like Miami or West Palm Beach. Because of the width, look at this now, we have a 3-lane section of roadway here that you can really swing wide entering corners. And most street circuits are very slow, but this one, because of that width, we have a very quick circuit. So it's quite a bit different, very enjoyable to drive.
If there's one man that I would give a real vote for today, it would be Jeff Klein out of Topanga, California, car number 33. It started last, that Pontiac Firebird GTP. They've gone through 3 engines. They scraped some parts together, threw an engine back together, and Jeff Klein is now being shown 6 overall in this race. He's done some racing today. Getting set for green. Going back on the green this time. Just before they touch on the long street, there are now 52 laps complete, 53 as they come to green. It's Columbus, Ohio. International Motorsports Association coverage of this 2.3-mile, 9-turn course.
Now, this little break for all of these drivers doing this race alone is really going to help them. They just get that little refresher, take a breath of cool air, and if it's very, very hot in their cars, and these are, they are like a greenhouse, great, huge windshields. This will be good. It builds for the sprint to the finish. That they have a chance to really go for it now. And particularly Klaus Ludwig. He's going to really go for it now.
And one that we'll be watching will be Jeff Klein in the 33, that Pontiac Firebird GTP. That is making one of its last performances with Pontiac support.
That is sad because that has just been such a good car this year.
They're doing that because they keep coming closer and closer.
Oh, it really has been spectacularly successful on the tighter street tracks. Very, very good car.
Brabham in the 83 first. Ludwig in second. 962 Porsche. Third place Porsche of Mauro Baldi, carrying the onboard camera for you today here on ESPN. There's the leaderboard. Halsmer with 53 down, and then Derek Daly being shown now in the 5th position as they sort them out and get ready for a go. Getting back in 6th is that 33. Halsmer's been
This has been a great run for Peter. The Tom Milner team have had a few heartbreaks this year with crashes and engine problems and management problems with the fuel systems and so on and so on. And they're taking a car that was ran in 1985 without a great many changes, and Pete is making it very competitive. There's
coming up on green.
And again, Brabham pulls the Ben Johnson move and sprint right up.
He has to finish faster than he started if it's a Ben Johnson.
We call him Flow Joe Brabham.
Car number 83, Brabham in that point position. See if Ludwig can do anything about him at all. That 83 looks like it is bulletproof so far today, Adam.
Well, it does, and I'm torn. This car has been so good all season long, and the crew really have done a remarkable job, as an 8-race winning streak will attest to. But just that one failure in San Antonio maybe showed a weakness, and it was late in the race when that popped up.
Mauro Baldi giving us these pictures in car number 67.
That car right to your left is Pete Halsmer and the NTW. No, sir, that is the number 6 car. That is got excited there for a minute. There's Baldy just diving inside. Nice clean pass in the rough area right there. On the long straight.
Civic Center drive. Just on a restart. Cars all gathered up. Here he is, scooting under another. Look at him move in there.
This just looks like Saturday afternoon at Biscayne Boulevard at home.
Frank Jelinek, number 36, right there with him now. That red car, Campbell Light car. There's the 67 going to the outside to try and move around him.
A lot of traffic.
Ooh. Collision car is there as well.
This is, you know, at a point like this is almost fun. When you get everybody bunched back up again for a start and you're trying to break away, it really is an extension to ego at this point. You want to say, yeah, come on, get out of my way. I want to get my foot in a little earlier here. Geez, you blocked me that time. And lots of fun right now.
And you can see the 84 car. Here's Derek Daly pulling up, and this is a battle for position.
I thought he gave him a little nudge there.
Battle for third.
Look at the horsepower of this Nissan. Right, sling it up. Now, when the BFG pulls over hard left, the Nissan, yes, he's going to slot inside him, just cleanly outbrake him. Did exactly the way that's just the way I talk.
Halswell in 5th. Klein in 6th. Elliott Forbes Robinson in the Hendrick Corvette in 7th. Race fans around the country interested in those individuals further back in the field. Opportunity to see how they're running. Meanwhile, here's this battle continuing as car number 84 clambers the third spot. Into third goes Daly, and he's looking for Klaus Ludwig in the 85 Porsche 962 at this moment.
That Perry King we just saw on the screen, that is the same Perry King from Red Flag fame on television. We had Bobby Carradine, an actor in an earlier race today, and now Perry King.
Perry King seems like a very serious racer.
Yes, he is.
Around at Daytona, he made a lot of events, willing to pay some dues. So the Columbus 500 continues to be in the hands of Jeff Brabham. Will it stay? We'll find out soon.
Of all the cars that come out each year, only one can be the Motor Trend Car of the Year. For 1988, that one is this one. The hot new Pontiac Grand Prix.
Get on the Pontiac and ride! Pontiac ride!
The new Grand Prix, Motor Trend's Car of the Year. You've got to drive it.
Get on your Pontiac! Rebuild excitement!
There's a vacancy at the Bates Motel.
Norman, is that you?
No, it's Buzz McKenzie, and it could be you. Look for this display and enter Bud Light Psycho Sweepstakes to win a Bud Light party with Buzz McKenzie at the Psycho Mansion. You can even get a mug like Spud's at participating retailers. Wow!
That Spud's is so cool, it's scary.
Herschel Walker leads the Dallas Cowboys into the Superdome to take on one of the NFC's best in the New Orleans Saints. Join us for analysis and commentary at our new time, 8 p.m. Eastern on Zenith Monday Night Matchup.
Here we are with you at Columbus, Ohio, live this afternoon. Bill Adam alongside. I'm Ken Squire. With us is Marty Reed and Bob Barcia on Pit Road, bringing you all the action of the Columbus 500. North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, Winston Cup competition. Holly Farm 400 rained out today. Reschedule 11 o'clock tomorrow. See it on ESPN. Brabham is first in the number 83. Drivers' Championship is at stake here this afternoon. He stays right where he is. Nielsen and Price Cobb will have to wait another year if they intend to take that American crown. Klaus Ludwig's number 85, the Porsche 962 of Bruce Levin. That car's running in second.
Something important here, too, is that the last 2 years in a row have been Bayside Racing winning this race. Walter Gerber crew team. And this is the car that's now in second, driven by Klaus Ludwig.
And Bruce Levin's car, in the very first year they ran this event, finished second. It's a great finishing record.
Nice record.
Saw the leader just flash across that bridge.
There is the Bayside car right there. Just coming into our picture. That number 85 is Klaus Ludwig.
Broad Street Bridge. Making the turn.
Now, we'll see a separation. This is Jeff Brabham, our leader, the number 83. And coming into our picture, you will see number 85 car right there.
On the Town Street Bridge.
That is first to second place. So we're very, very close.
Over, side of the river, and then come back. Just about 3 seconds. They go back and forth across the river in about 5 seconds. see some of the Pioneer fathers try that.
There's a Camel Light leader.
Spun.
That's number 55, Dan Marvin, has spun out at the big 180-degree corner up at the top of the straight.
Underway.
Oh, and he's okay. That's good.
This could put Colin Truman into the lead in Camel Lights with his Pontiac Firebird. Ooh.
That was not one of your better bootleg turns.
Stop. There's the overall leader, number 83, whispering by, just by a hairbreadth.
Come on, Dan, get out of it.
Corner workers indicating, you can see them down there in the frame. Stay to the outside. Yellow flag is up above them. Now there's the 01 car. He's got a flat tire, so that'll really change the Camel Light standings considerably, as that's the Colin Truman car that had taken over the lead. Let's go to Mark.
Well, they're taking off the front nose section to take a look down inside, and we've got some traffic to watch out for, so we'll let that get by, and then we'll swing around here and see what's going on. They're working with the steering assembly mechanism. Can I tell Colin may have rubbed up against something? He definitely had to have the tire changed. Now they've got the back cover off, and now they're going inside. Looks like it is over for Colin Truman.
It looks like it's over for Marvin. Rear suspension left side badly damaged on that Pontiac Firebird. Here he comes trying to get back to the pit area, and that will be a struggle for him.
Oh, yeah. Look at this. The wheel is just tucked right up in there. Yeah, absolutely broken off. They will be out of the race.
And so it moves Tom Hessert in the Buick Tiger. Car number 9 into the lead. Jacobson and Loring also scheduled for that car, showing a total of 58 laps complete. Hessert in the 9 stays in first at the present time. We'll check those Camel Light standings back for you just a bit. There's the new leader. Car that we saw win at Daytona at the outset of the season, the 24-hour endurance contest. Looked like it was going to totally dominate, then had a terrible wreck in West Palm Beach, Florida. And as you'll recall, they took the plywood to it to rebuild. It became a wooden car.
One of the most remarkable jobs I've ever seen by any pit crew. They really, really deserved that victory.
Skeeter McKittrick is in second place now with a Pontiac, number 79, and Jim Downing comes up into third in car number 63, Mr. Dependable.
He is. Jim Downing is the Jeff Brabham of the GTP Light line. He just never makes a mistake. So smooth, so consistent.
55 has stopped. Come to a halt on course, and this may demand another caution. On the Broad Street Bridge is car number 55, one of the 2 bridges used in this competition.
Now, he isn't really in a dangerous area because the cars will come in from the left. Yeah, he is on the inside of the track, so potentially they may not put out a pace car for this. You can see the cars are sweeping by well on the outside. He's not endangering anyone right here.
Broken rear end on car number 55 will close out the day for Marvin. Unfortunate, as he put up such a good show and led much of the way. More from Columbus Live on ESPN in a moment.
You hear the thunder, the call of the road.
Whether it's the rhythm of 16 valves or the roar of a lusty turbo, Grand Am is sheer driving excitement.
Get on your Pontiac and ride!
2 available engines that eliminate boredom and lesser cars. That's Grand Am.
Get on your Pontiac! Rebuild excitement!
B.F. Goodrich, Update 2 with Bob Strange, test engineer, subject tire personality.
Did you know that different tires have different personalities? We at B.F. Goodrich design each of our tires to have an individual personality based on its intended use. For example, in developing the Comp TA, we wanted a tire that had quick steering response, great cornering capability, and predictable behavior at its limits. For quick steering response, we blended a stiff bead and lower sidewall area with steel belts and nylon overheads in the tread. For great cornering capability, we developed a tread pattern with large stable blocks and a special tread compound. In order to get the predictable behavior that we wanted, we blended these 2 areas together with a rounded shoulder radius. What this means to you is that when you need all of your car's capability, you won't have any unpleasant surprises.
BF Goodrich TAs, tested tough to make your car perform. Just how good are genuine GM parts? Good enough for Dale Earnhardt, 3-time Winston Cup driving champion. And the same kind of quality that goes into the GM parts for his car goes into the GM parts for your car. So get the goods under your hood. Genuine GM parts from your General Motors dealer.
Car number 33, the Pontiac Prototype. GTP car that we were calling a bit ago as to how well it was doing here. The Collins and Aikman car is slowing, trying to inch its way back into the pit area and having its problems. Car number 33, which had risen through the standings up into the 5th position. And now Jeff Klein is just trying to edge it back, get it in there to see if they can do some service work and get him back out of here. He started shotgun in the field, dead last, fought his way through the field, now is in trouble.
Just coasting downhill into the pits, and here is someone that is not in trouble. The same as the first lap or this lap or any lap. It's just, look at this car. You can't tell it's been racing for so long. Still even looks shiny.
When do you think the problem's going to break down?
Oh, next year sometime, I'm sure.
He looks good right now.
He
Jeff Brabham
does.
and the Nissan continuing.
But look at it. Look at it in the background now. Here is a battle. That's Daly right there, and that's Klaus Ludwig with the lights on saying, "Come here." Real good battle shaping up here. Excellent.
Porsche 962 in 3rd spot with the lights on, hoping to carry the Porsche tradition greater heights today. Win their 50th race with a 962 model car.
A turbocharged battle. That is a V6 turbocharged Nissan and a flat 6 turbocharged Porsche. You could not ask for a better Porsche driver than what you have right there.
Ireland's Derek Daly squaring off against West Germany. Klaus Ludwig battle for 2nd place as Australian native Jeff Brabham continues to lead here in Columbus, Ohio this afternoon.
Also, this particular Porsche has been an extremely successful one. It gave a number of victories for the Bayside team last year, and that was a team that did not run the full IMSA season. They chose races here and there.
Car that won this race?
It could very well be. We'll see if we can find out.
Who's the telling you?
Oh.
It's the old Warhorse. That's car number 85.
Very, very good chassis, that one.
R67 lies fourth. Mauro Baldi, David Hobbs, and Judge Baldwin are back in the 5th position now. Car number 76. Elliott Forbes Robinson is 6th, and the Corvettes are back in it again. They've had a miserable season in IMSA prototype competition, and things seem to be looking better. It started to look better with an incredible qualifying performance by Bobby Rahal for this race. Put them right up at the head of the list.
And don't they win the award for the greatest sound?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's such a great mixture of the V6s, the smaller engines, those big 366 cubic inch, 6-liter plus machines, the 12-cylinder Jag, all in a great mix here in the International Motorsports Association prototype competition.
That was our cameraman just being sick there.
A little hoop-de-doo there. Come out from under that railroad bridge. There you see number 9. That is Hessert leading in Camel Light, the smaller prototype cars. How small?
These are a 4-liter V6 Buick that they run, but again, they don't have a turbocharger, so instead of putting out the 750 horsepower of a full GTP car, they may have 360 or 370 horse, and they try and offset that by running a slightly lighter weight. Instead of approximately a 2,000-pound weight, they're down about 1,600 to 1,700 pounds.
And that's why these prototype cars just seem to run by the Camel Light category in first place.
Just a great battle going on here. Now, these fellas are really fighting hard, and Klaus is pushing very, very hard on Derek, trying to get him to make a mistake. Watch, too, when Klaus goes into corners. He'll try and move over, not necessarily on the perfect line, but just a fraction out. Again, to make Derek look in the mirrors. He wants to distract him just that tiny little bit to disturb his concentration. See? Oh, no, he's going to get him right here. No, he's not. Pardon me.
How good is that number 85 for today's race? Well, right now, Marty Reed can give us some insight. Thought we had Marty Reed right there.
Maybe he was the one that was making the camera go up and down.
Can you hear me now, guys? Okay. Sorry, guys. You couldn't hear me. Walter with me right now. And Walter, you had to change an engine earlier today after warm-up. The question is, can you catch the two Nissans?
Well, at the moment we can stay with Daly, and hopefully we can pressure him into doing some kind of mistakes, or at least we can stay with him. So we're going to try. We still got about 25 laps to go.
So really the only strategy is hopefully forcing them to brake.
Well, we try to stay there. If we can stay underneath his wing as we just hear, we're going to be able to make.
Big holler went up from the crew. Do you know what that was all about?
I think we passed Daly, so.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go out on course. We'll find out.
Well, if you tuned on today expecting to see the start of this race right now, surprise. No, it's not April 1st. What happened was that in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, rain prevented the showing of the Holly Farms 400. And so rather than giving you a tape delay event, bring you live this Columbus 500. And we have a tremendous battle developing for the lead here today as we watch Jeff Brabham trying to get the Drivers' Championship of the International Motorsports Association. And watch as teammate Derek Daly runs in second, Klaus Ludwig in third.
No, look at this. Ludwig has passed Daly. He is in second, and I believe he's closing on Brabham. Here's what I talked about. Ludwig is just a spectacular street driver. His precision is so important, and yet he really gets this fire up. He wants to win the race, and he's got a great car under him. He has got thousands and thousands of laps in a 962 Porsche.
It is a combination of the mighty prototypes and the Camel Light cars here if you're just joining us. And as they try to string them out around this 2.3-mile track, that difficulty in being on target and being so precise for a street course and having to fend off those lighter cars running 30 to 40 miles an hour slower around this 9-turn course creates the difficulties and the competition that is absolutely custom perfect to the International Motorsports Association. You won't see it anywhere else quite like this.
Oh, and we just see that number 6 probe just spinning in the background. And there's a T-bow with Derek Daly's Nissan. Daly has to back up. I think it's very, very light damage because you look at the side pod and the port on the probe, there's not much damage there. But Daly is losing a tremendous amount of time.
Right at the horseshoe, as you go all the way down Spring Street, and you take that artificial horseshoe turn built for this track.
I think he stalled it.
Looks like he has stalled it, and look at those corner workers out there trying to get him out of the way. Derek Daly, who had set on the pole for this event. Brabham had started beside him. Panasonic car going by.
Daly can't get that started. His battery, for whatever reason, is flat.
Nose is coming off the car. Trying to roll him away.
Oh, what a turn of events. Now, if this remains here, they will put a pace car out. No, that's good. They're going to get him out of the way, at least. We just have the tail end on a replay. We're going to see if we can get it up here to have a look at it. Here it is right here. You can just see the probe is coming to a stop, and Daly is just nudging him. Look how little damage there is between the wheels, right where the Nissan went in. Hardly anything at all, but the biggest damage is the Nissan's engine is dead at this point. He has stalled it. Oh, and there it is. He's going, so he'll get back to the pits and try and get a new nose on. It doesn't, you can look at the aluminum structure in the front. There's nothing bent there, so a new nose should fit without any problem.
Headed back for repairs comes Derek Daly of Ireland, and we'll be back with more of the Columbus 500 in a moment.
Robin Leach on Playing It Safe.
Suppose you'd love to be wonderfully wealthy. Who wouldn't? So you play Tri-State Megabucks. The fantasy alone is worth $1 million, but if you're like me, you can't always get your ticket. Between lunch with Liz and cocktails with the Countess, who has time? That's why a Tri-State Megabucks season pass is a great idea. You can play it safe and play every week. They'll even call you if you hit the jackpot.
Tri-State Megabucks. Play this week and just imagine.
Have you ever noticed that the people with the least time to waste always find time to read the Wall Street Journal?
Okay, I'll hold.
Perhaps it's because reading the journal had a lot to do with making them so busy in the first place.
Call 800-228-3800 for this great journal subscription offer. 13 weeks for just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.75. Phone 800-228-3800 now for the Wall Street Journal.
You hear the thunder, the call of the road. No time to wonder, you gotta go.
Aggressively styled, and powered to match. That's Grand Am.
Get on the Pontiac and ride, Pontiac ride.
Built with a feel for the road, Grand Am is sheer driving excitement.
Ride, Pontiac ride. Get on your Pontiac. We build excitement.
The Holly Farms 400 from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway was postponed on Sunday afternoon. It rained almost all night. It continued to rain during the early portions of the morning. It did, however, stop for a while, and there was hope that the race could be gotten in, but it started to rain again, and it was postponed. We will be on the air live tomorrow morning, Monday morning, at 11 o'clock Eastern Time for live coverage of the Holly Farms 400. We hope you'll be with us.
Well, the Nissan has been on pit road for a considerable amount of time. That's the Derek Daly car, and they can't get the nose to fit. He started to put on a new nose, and apparently a latch is broken. It was a latch the first time they came here after they set on the pole for Jeff Brabham that knocked them out of the race, a little $2 part, and now they can't. Now they're getting out the old gaffer's tape to strap that car together. Here's a battle for third. Car number 76, Jack Baldwin, being challenged by Mauro Baldi in the BF Goodrich Porsche 962, line 4. And there's only a 2-second interval between first place man Brabham and Klaus Ludwig in that Porsche number 85, owned by Bruce Levin, the car that has won over the last couple of years on this circuit. There you see the 67 in fourth, closing on the Corvette that's running in third. David Hobbs took it up through the numbers, but now Jack Baldwin has taken over and tries to secure the position. He's under attack from Monaco's Baldi. They come into this tight left-hander and scoot up Spring Street, Columbus, Ohio. It's live this afternoon. North Wilkesboro rained out tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock here on ESPN, and tomorrow night, Formula One Championship racing at 9 o'clock, Spanish Grand Prix. Won today by Prost.
What a surprise.
Ayrton Senna fourth.
Gentlemen, an interesting sidelight to the story of of Derek Daly, who just brought the 84 car in. They couldn't get the nose on. They were penalized an extra 10 seconds for having too many men over the wall when he came in. The reason for that is that there are not enough not enough crewmen on that Nissan team to service two cars. So when they knew they were going to run two cars, they borrowed crewmen from another team, a team that runs in a different series. And as a result, the guys may not have been totally familiar with the rules. Too many of them got too excited, hopped over the wall to make the repairs, and it cost them an extra 10 seconds.
They may have some extra men next year, too, Bob Barsha. Nissan's going to go GTO racing with two cars. Four drivers. Steve Millen's the first driver to be named. I don't think that announcement's been made yet, but they're going to bring the 300ZX out next year. And it will be a team developed by Clayton Cunningham. So Nissan will become even more formidable in IMSA with a GTO contender as well as in prototype. Look at this number 85 of Klaus Ludwig continue to close ground on Jeff Brabham in the number 83. 81 laps marks the distance to be run here today. Of that 68, they're working 69 at the present time. It's good scramble for first position.
Just a very few laps to go, and Klaus is starting to smell that victory.
Well, the Bruce Levin team, this number 85, they've been successful here for 2 straight years, trying to make it 3 in a row. Jeff Brabham trying to inch Nissan, which has been pretty much a single car, lone wolf effort all season, closer to the International Motorsports Association Manufacturers Championship. He really wants this win, and of course, also personal satisfaction of taking the driver's crown. He seems to have that in hand. But here's Ludwig in the 962, number 85, closing ever, well, maybe a half car length a lap. I think he lost a little that time. He was close the last time by.
Yeah, I think they will pick up and lose at different sections in the track. And obviously, on the end of the straight, on the upper speed sections, the Nissan does have a horsepower advantage. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But Ludwig is just pushing so hard right now. He is really, really getting in deep under braking. And I watch, oh, look at this. Now, there's a sign of a problem for the Nissan. The rear brakes locked up. And look at Ludwig. He is closed right up on him. He is power sliding this Porsche out of the corner and took advantage of a first mistake we have seen by the Brabham car.
Tires going away on 83?
Watch at the end of the straight. This is a heavy braking area. Now, that could be happening because he is trying to put down tremendous horsepower.
700 horsepower.
I would venture it's more than that, too, Ken. I think they're being extremely conservative when they say that, because look at the gap that's opened up. An immediate gap, but watch at the end. Ludwig will charge back up here and break very, very deep in the corner. And look how much he picks up again. Just great back. Look at this. Oh, super. Beautiful control. He is working with the car right on the edge, and it looks so easy the way he's doing it.
Camel-like competition. McKitterick stays first, with Downing in the number 63 in second, Jelinek third, Cirque in fourth. Look at this scramble up in front. The overall is at stake right now. Jeff Brabham, Australian native, and Klaus Ludwig of West Germany here in Columbus, Ohio, continuing their own personal vendetta to win this race. Klaus Ludwig, where do you find it comfortable to pass on this track?
There are two out-braking areas, but you have to know who you are passing. You have to rely on that guy. Because on the straights, you have these intersections. The whole car is up in the air. I think you will have it on the video. And it's a little bit unpredictable. You know, you have to be straight over these bumps. If not, it can cause major problems. So overtaking is not easy here.
But if anybody's going to overtake, it's going to be Klaus Ludwig. Keep this in mind. The man has a tremendous pride. He wants to be known as the best Porsche driver anywhere in the world. Remember also that in June at Le Mans, he was the driver in his first trip with a Works Factory team who let the car run out of gas a mile from the pits. An agonizing crawl to the pits brought them back in. They were 2 laps down to Jaguar when they got back on the racetrack. They lost by less than a lap. That weighs very heavy on Klaus Ludwig's mind. Nothing he would like more than to show these Yankees in America, as well as the folks back home, that he is the best around. Incidentally, if he wins, remember, there is also Porsche's 50th win for the Model 962, and that means a great deal to folks on both sides of the ocean. We'll be back for plenty of racing action. We won't let there be a pass without you seeing it. This is live from Columbus, Ohio, and we'll be right back.
If you like to drive, really like to drive, this is what your next car should be. This is the all-new Pontiac Grand Prix. Get on your Pontiac and ride! Pontiac ride! This is the 1988 Motor Trend Car of the Year. And that ought to be you driving. Get on your Pontiac! We build excitement!
Ricky Rudd talks about Quaker State with QSX.
If you're like me, you want your engine to perform. You want it to run clean, and you don't want sludge. That's why you and I both need Quaker State with QSX.
QSX keeps dirt particles in suspension, so they're trapped in your oil filter instead of sludging up your engine.
No other oil runs cleaner or fights sludge better. And the Quaker State I use in my car is the same oil you can buy right off the shelf for your car.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Ever tried watching every NFL game? Miss anything? Well, Sunday, see all the key plays from every game on ESPN's NFL Primetime. Week after week, NFL Primetime is football's finest hour with Chris Berman, Pete Axthelm, and Tom Jackson. See it all in one place, NFL Primetime. Sunday nights at 7:15 Eastern on ESPN.
Jeff Brabham just had to sort himself out from car number 60 Jaguar 5 laps down. He was able to finally make a move and get through, and so did car number 85 Ludwig. It took them about half a lap to make that maneuver. Here they are around the Hessert car that is leading in Camel Light another time. And there you see that number 60 Jag, 5 laps back. Present time, just joined us, Jaguar has not had a good day at all. 60 and 66, just not counting cars. 66 has retired from the event. Bruce Lemon's brand new Porsche 962 crashed out of the race early. Bobby Rahall's Corvette had mechanical problems. It fell by the wayside. The Pontiac Fiero Bellina, that has had an overheating problem. Costas Close had an accident. He's out of the race. Marvin, the Klein Pontiac, number 33, which started last, rolled all the way into the top 5, has had to retire from competition. And the 83 car, after starting second to teammate Derek Daly on the pole, has dominated this event. But as we move into the closing laps here today, 81 laps making the distance, a total of 72 now complete. It is a struggle for the lead. Here you see Brabham in first and Ludwig in the 85. Porsche 962, and getting caught behind some lap cars is Jeff Brabham in the 83. This will cost him some real time.
Right, part of the problem he has right now is just to watch out for this traffic. It's getting late in the day, and as the sun's going down too, we can watch when they're going down the straight. You can clearly see the drivers' faces. It is so low on the horizon with the amount of oil and grease in the windshield. You have to look and concentrate extra hard. Sometimes drivers will take that little extra bit of attention off their mirrors and really not watch what's going on. So Jeff Brabham and Klaus Ludwig are really, really working hard at this point, driving other people's cars as well as theirs.
Further back in the standings, Baldi in number 67, Porsche 962, lies fourth. Elliott Forbes Robinson in the Hendrick Corvette is up to fifth. Pete Alsmer's Ford is in sixth. And the Durst Brockman, number 09, Buick Spice is in seventh. Another Porsche 962, Hotchkiss and Adams are eighth. Derek Daly is now relegated to the 9th position.
Now, just look what happened here. A little bit of traffic, and all of a sudden, there's about a 3-second gap from first to second when they had been literally nose to tail.
There you saw the 9 car. That's Hessert leading in Campbell Light. The 10th place car in prototype overall. That is the Collision, number 15. That is running in 10th place. Graham currently the driver. Well, there you see the interval from first back into the 2nd position, number 85. They continue their war up in front. Nissan came in this season, missed the first 2 races of the year, and then just one great performance after another all over the United States. I was asking Kaz Kastner what it meant for Nissan to have this kind of success this year. And he said, well, before this year, no one knew for sure if we were a watch or a tape recorder. They sure know now. Number 83 Nissan leading ever closer to the manufacturer's title, and Brabham may be champion of all.
What can you expect when you invest at Schwab? Ask a Schwab customer.
My experience is Schwab people are professional and helpful. But what's most important is they're not out to sell you something you don't want or need.
When I want to buy a particular stock and the market's closed, I simply pick up the phone and call Schwab. And yes, they're there, 24 hours a day.
A few years back, I found I had some money to invest. I'd had some prior experience with a full commission broker, but now I learned enough to make my own investing decisions. It's easy to do business at Schwab. They're efficient, accurate, and very courteous.
For a free booklet, What a Discount Broker Can Do for You, call toll-free 800-851-6600. That's 800-851-6600. Call Schwab now.
San Antonio in the last outing for this Nissan team. They lost a drive shaft, ended up a DNF. Basically 8th place is what they paid them for in that race. And it was the consideration that those street courses were going to turn around and bite them. Well, right now, the street course here at Columbus, which is as tough as there is, with 75 of 81 laps complete, seems to be agreeing with this Nissan as it continues to power around the course and stay the distance between itself and the Porsche 962 of Klaus Ludwig. He had a moment that looked like a tire failure or a brake locking up a little while ago. Whatever the situation, it's been remedied, and 83 continues to stock first place in the same methodical manner it has since the outset of this great racing classic in Middle America.
Yeah, you know, the mark of a great team is that anytime you have a failure, you try and find out what caused that failure and not necessarily just correct it, but take steps to prevent it happening. That I truly thought that this driveline failure from San Antonio would show itself up here, because this is a harder track, a more physically demanding track on the car, mechanically demanding. The car is running perfectly.
Do you think that perhaps Brabham lost concentration for a moment?
No, I don't believe he did, because Brabham is in constant touch with his pit crew, and they advise him on the lead, either a deficit or a plus on what's happening to other traffic around him. He is in such a relaxed position right now that he can talk back and forth to his crew to even find out how hard does he have to push.
Major headline for American race fans right now in third spot. Red and white car number 76, David Hobbs and Jack Baldwin out of Marietta, Georgia. They've taken that brand new Corvette. First time out of the box. It's running third in this race. Great performance for the Chevy Corvette as David Hobbs did the first half of the event. And now stepping in is Baldwin. Opportunity to run in prototype and looking very, very strong. I don't believe that unless there's a mechanical, they'll get any closer. But a third place finish for them will be terrific. There's collision number 15, and then you see the 52 as we show you some other cars in the race. That's the Hendrick car, and there's the leader. And there's number 79 in super trouble. That would be, I believe, the second place car, McKittrick.
I think it is. Peter McKittrick and Bill Cole.
In Camel Light, in the smaller category of competition.
Right.
And that has happened just after they went over the Broad Street Bridge, turning onto Washington Boulevard. First bridge.
Just a terribly awkward position for him. Once again, he is on a blind corner and really has to rely on the marshals to get out.
There's that third place car, number 76. Hobbs and Baldwin.
Great looking car. Really, really
They're going to be super challengers next year. 5 laps to go.
And right on his tail, too, is the 67 Fiat Goodrich car of Mauro Baldi.
And Mauro Baldi has been there for the last 10 laps and has been not able to do anything with this number 76 machine that stays third. From the VF Goodrich car as they sweep through the streets of Columbus. They give you an idea how it looks in the driver's cockpit in a moment here when they get sorted out from under that steel work and signs.
Yeah, they get a little clearer view than what the viewers just saw.
There's the 19 car, part of the Essex racing team. That one is not in the top 5. It's the sister car, the 9, being driven by Hesser, which currently is leading in the Camel Light category.
Look at the torque that Chevy is putting out. He really pulls away from the Porsche that's coming out of that hairpin. Look at that. He's stretched a good 3-4 lengths on him.
There's a great horsepower and engine comparison right there in that picture.
It sure is. In the one car, we have a 6-liter American V8, just push rod V8 with a fuel injection system. The engine itself is not too far off NASCAR specs. The car following, the 67 car right there, is that flat 6-cylinder multi-cam engine with very high-pressure turbocharger on it. Totally different viewpoints on trying to achieve the same thing, maximum horsepower.
You'd have a hard time getting that fuel injection by the inspectors in NASCAR. I'm nervous.
I think they would, yeah.
There you see the 9 car. That's the Hesser car that's leading in Camel Light. The small prototype cars. Still, Mauro Baldi, who is a good shoe, having trouble with that Corvette. Yeah, right there at the same interval.
It's a really good job that Jack is doing right here. He is not terribly familiar with a GT prototype car yet. He's done some testing in them and has a little bit of driving before. But these are cars that take a long time to really get the hang of, and Jack is driving this thing very well.
Leader with Derek Daly. Now pulling in Meredith Daly, running down some in this race. That's
Bo Jackson leading, and Marcus Allen working as a blocking back right there.
Jeff Brabham. 3 to go. Ludwig second, and there's that battle continuing further back for third place. Jack Baldwin still trying to fend off Monaco's Mauro Baldi in the Porsche 962.
And the Corvette really stretches his legs down that straight. He gets a good lead. At the end, it seems the 962 is able to close up a little bit, but I don't know if that's going to be enough for Baldi to get up and make a pass. Of course, that's another thing, to try and make a pass on Jack Baldwin. It's not just catching him, it's trying to get by him.
There's the 67, the VF Goodrich car, still chasing the Peerless Corvette. Bob Carson's organization doing an outstanding job of bringing this new entrant in and making it strong in its very first outing. Here it is, Washington Boulevard, flipping over the Town Street Bridge, laps running out, just about down to the finish. And the vulnerabilities that Nissan has had in street courses, they seem to be going away today. This car, number 83, is sticking with the program, and this brand new car, incredible to believe you bring a brand new car into a track that's as rough and ready as this street course, and it runs like that Peerless Corvette has today. The leader, number 83, handling it well as can be expected. Here he is, back into some light cars, down to 2 laps.
You know, we look at this car, and there isn't a mark on that car anyplace. Not a wheel mark from rubbing tires. There's a few marks. The fans really have just watched a great race today.
Fellas, I'm standing right at the pit exit as Bill Adams was speaking about the great handling of that Nissan. And let me tell you a little story. As these cars go through the turn here at the pit entrance and exit, everybody gets a little wheel spin. Everybody's engines kind of pop up as they lose traction. The Nissan comes through here, never changes a note. He has got that thing absolutely locked down and running on a rail.
Yeah, that's one of the things that has always impressed me, Bob. It does have such a lot of horsepower, and yet it puts it down so effectively. Really a well-worked chassis.
It looks like another win is in the offing for Team Nissan. Now we're back with the 76 battle. You're inside the 67 car, and that is Mauro Baldi, the Porsche 962, and right in front of him is that Corvette.
Boy, look at the torque of that Chevrolet. Just pulls off the corner. Right there. Goodbye.
Jack Baldwin can make those big engines sing. Look at him as they go down the Civic Center Drive here in Columbus, Ohio. It's live today on ESPN. Tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, North Wilkesboro Winston Cup race rained out today. After a very foreboding forecast earlier, it's turned out to be a beauty here in Columbus, Ohio. And Jeff Bravo inches closer on this 2.3-mile, 9-turn course for the Drivers' Championship this afternoon of the International Motorsports Association. The title that the late Al Holbert won on 5 occasions. Making calls to Bravo here today. His younger brother's having a great year. Now there's that number 30, which used to be a Buick. Now it's Porsche 962. And there he is scooting by Steve Phillips out of the Sugarbush Valley of Vermont, and Moretti of Italy, the co-driver in that car. Great international flavor to this series as you watch car number 83, Brabham, into his final moments, about to taste victory and take the Drivers' Championship. Next time by, it'll be over for 1988, and Brabham, man who still has things to do, he says, in Indianapolis car racing. Now look at this battle developing. Mauro Baldi knows it's the last lap, and he's going for it. But his number 67 closes up on Baldwin.
They'll both be advised, and that's Jim Downing. He's just going to try and get by there. Yep, he's heading over the bridge, and he has only got a little bit of pavement to go for, so he really has to get into it. But you can bet Baldwin's got some carbon fiber bumpers lying around there.
And Baldwin's getting stronger, feeling more and more comfortable. Almost every lap you get the sense that he's liking this thing a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Nissan crew watching on the old telly as car number 83 comes ever closer for Don Devendorf, the guy who's tasted success after failure many times before in various categories of racing. What a day this will be for him. The 83 scoots down Washington Boulevard, a final time. Hard left-hander over the Town Street Bridge here in Columbus, Ohio. Jeff Bravo. 9 wins in 1 year, 8 in a row, a new record, never been done before. And you're watching an accomplishment in American road racing as Bravo heads for the checkers. Drivers' Championship within his grasp. That's his crew. There's the checkers out. And the winner of the 1988 Columbus 500. Jeff Bravo. You'll meet the winner of the International Motorsports Association Drivers' Championship, as well as this race, after we pause for these messages.
All right, need a bit. How you doing, Joe? Give me a bite.
Hey, man, we got 5 gold medals.
5? All right.
Then he knocked them out. Lucky shot, yeah, right. Watch this next one. I'm going to even open my eyes.
Now that many of the early games are over, we're just getting started for NFL primetime. We'll bring you the full story from Soldier Field. Will the Bills stay unbeaten as they go up against the Bears? Also, can the Bengals and the Rams make it 5 in a row? In the NFC East, major showdown at RFK with the Giants and Redskins trying to each move above 2-2. So, join Pete Axtell, Tom Jackson, John Saunders, and yours truly, Chris Berman, NFL primetime, 7:15 Eastern Time on ESPN.
And Jeff Brabham pulls his car up to the pit entrance here at Columbus and nearly takes off the tail of somebody else's car in the process. They're going to pull him up here and put him into a pickup truck for a victory lap before an adoring audience here in Columbus. But he's not going to do it before we get one quick word with the man himself. Jeff, congratulations, buddy. I'm sure all of this is kind of just extending it all. Must be a great victory.
It really is. You know, to win the championship is really a great accomplishment for the whole team. And, you know, it's a tough race for me. I just had to be really conservative. And, you know, it looked like a hell of a race in my mirrors. And I was lucky enough to keep out of all the things which were going on. And the car ran very, very well. And, you know, I'm very happy for Nissan and myself. It's great.
What does this championship mean after all those lean years in Indy cars?
Well, it just means a lot to me. You know, this is my, you know, I came in kind of dedicated to win this year, and it's really turned out great for us, and I'm very, very happy.
Congratulations to you. We'll see you in victory lane, Jeff. And the entire Nissan crew piled on board for a victory lap. Who needs a truck? They've got the best sports car in the world.
Nissan still has to decide the Manufacturers' Championship at Del Mar. They lead Porsche 186 to 182. The driver's title has been decided with Brabham's victory. Klaus Ludwig finishing in second, Mauro Baldi in third, and Jack Baldwin fell to fourth in the very last lap, with Elliott Forbes Robinson finishing in fifth, and Hessert wins in Camel Light here today. For Bill Adam, Bob Barsha, and Marty Reed, I'm Ken Squire. That's the story of the Columbus 500. The Columbus 500 has been presented by Pontiac. We build excitement. By Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has and always will. And by B.F. Goodrich TAs and the all-weather Comp TA. Once again, the top five here at Columbus today. Brabham first, Ludwig second, Monaco's Baldi third, Jack Baldwin of Marietta, Georgia fourth, and Elliott Forbes Robinson of Denver, North Carolina fifth in the Columbus 500.